FNCS, de finals gaat zo beginnen. Over een paar minuten. En je kan in Royale kan je gewoon ja, de FNCS checken. En laten we nu gewoon in Royale gaan. Ja, FNCS is toch wel een van de belangrijkste dingen wat er is natuurlijk. Fortnite. Kijk, je hoort het al. Je hoort het al. Auw. Yo, Sky Snipes, welkom. Als het mij even inlaat. Nee, starting soon. Nee, ik wil dat niet zien. We moeten naar de big screen, jongens. Hou. Ren. We moeten naar de big screen. Ik zet een party op open als jullie willen joinen. Dan kunnen we met z'n allen kijken. Nee. FNCS Finals. Oh, waar heb ik de hoe heet die? Have a seat. Waar staat hij? Gaan we dan? Over 5 minuten start de FNCS, dus het wordt leuk. Nee. Let's go, jongens. Hoezo internetkwaliteit is momenteel onvoldoende. Ik zit op internetkabel. Hoe dan? Heb ik even alle settings even... Ja, oké. Oh, mooie kills. Replays van Azië en Oceanië. Dat live, ja, de finale, je kan party Royale zeg maar joinen. Oh ja, wacht, waar staat die? Hoe heet die? Ja, de beanbag. Haha, alleen deze default heeft hem niet. Haha. Ja, dit is over 3 minuten gaan de laatste finals van de FNCS starten. En dit wordt wel nice. Want ja, het seizoen eindigt over een week, 8 juni. En nu gaan we weten, want een vrienden van mij, Galma Marijn, die doet ook mee. En ze staan op dit moment 20ste. Maar je hebt 2 sessies, gisteren ze de eerste gedaan. De eerste finals. En dit wordt nu de beslissende. Dit wordt lachen. Ik ga vooral genieten van dit. Ja, iedereen zit in die beanbag. Nou, mooi. Alleen, kap is met gooien met die shit. Ik zal eens kijken of iedereen al... Oh ja. Heel veel mensen, kijk, enjoyen zeg maar niet. Ja. Ja, en ik vind de FNCS, ik vind het wel. Ik vind FNCS vind ik wel een van de leukste events wel van heel Fortnite, zeg maar. Hij moet wachten. Dit nog 45 seconden en dan... dit wordt spannend. Gewoon bij het tankstation. Oh! Smerig, smerig. Dit zijn zeg maar clips van Azië en zo. Ah nee. Och. Kap met die quad crashes, maat. Ja, we gaan beginnen. FNCS. Kap nou eens, jongen. Ik sta op een goed plekje.
It's day number 2. Yesterday set the stage for us coming into today's 6 matches, and after those 6 matches, we will potentially crown brand new FNCS Trios champions. Or could a trio come back, get the back-to-back dub, hold their title? Oh baby,
ik denk dat Mr. Savage gaat winnen.
Absolutely insane.
Ik hoop dat Mr. Savage gaat
winnen. Guys, as always. And what's going on, Party Royale? It's super fun getting to hang out with you guys as well. Make sure to use your favorite emotes and enjoy the show. As always, I can't do this alone. I need the help from some of the very best in the world. It's Reese and it's Levin 2K. Boys, this is it. After 6 matches, we'll know who our champions are. How are you guys feeling? You gotta let me know.
Look, I'm through the roof excitement, you know, as always. But yesterday, the first game started off so hot. I'm thinking we're going to see exactly the same thing today. And it's just going to continue to get better and better up to that final game where we finally get to crown our champions.
Reese, don't even mention the heat. Right now in the UK, the sun is shining, the weather's sweet. I'm excited for some Fortnite. You know what I mean? I'm just excited for some Fortnite. It kind of hurts that this is the final day, right? Because you want it to continue. If it could just go on endlessly, I would do that. But it is the final day. We are going to be crowning champions. And, you know, Zeke, like you said, potentially back-to-back champions. Who knows? I'm getting ahead of myself. But look, can't wait for the games.
Oh, man, we're going to get there in just a little bit. The battle bus is getting all warmed up for us. So let's talk about a few things before we take our seats. Now, as you guys know, we're starting the day off in Europe. We've got 6 matches here. If you like what you're watching, then don't forget NA East later on in the day. 6 matches. NA West is our final stop for the last 6, and that will close Chapter 2, Season 6. Now, let's take a look at the overall tournament format bracket. What is
Oké, dit is spannend. Je kan die assen winnen. Kijk, je hebt een reboot round gehad en daar liggen de beste, bijna beste spelers eraf.
This is it. We've got our 33 trios, the very best of the best. And this is that last shot at greatness.
We do indeed. And if you want to know how our top 33 teams made it here, you can see on the left the full way of how they qualified here. So 3, obviously, all full breakdown.
Dit is ook gewoon gelijk de laatste toernooi. van heel chapter 2 seizoen 6.
There will be 6 games today. We will be recapping yesterday's 6 games a little bit later as well. So look out for that. Remember, these points will be cumulative. So
Yo, Sam, welkom bij de
yesterday, those points will carry forward to today, and it'll be the total points who will be crowned our champions. And that's it. Not only are they champions, they managed to get the Axe of Champions as well for placing first. And obviously, beautiful prize money from the top all the way down to the bottom.
4 kijkers, welkom iedereen. Jullie kunnen trouwens ook mijn party joinen. Dit zijn de puntensysteem. Als je eerste wordt, heb je in totaal 30 punten.
First game of the day, a 54-point game from No Riley, Reason, and Badil, right? They had a victory out with 12 eliminations. You know, plenty of points up for grabs, and you know, we're eventually going to show you guys the leaderboards, but you know, spoiler alert, there are fine margins, very fine margins. So the ability to just collect points in any way possible is going to be huge for the games today.
Man, and we cannot forget what's
Europa,
on the line.
1,3 miljoen.
7 regions, but deep in EU, the prize money is absolutely insane.
Ja, eerste wordt hè, dit wordt gesplit zeg maar. Als je eerste wordt, dan krijg je 100.000.
But they will also take home the Axe of Champions. If you've never heard me say it before, well guess what? It's gold, baby. We've digitized it, we put it in Fortnite, and created a pickaxe that only champions can wield. That's right. There's only 3 in game at the moment, and only your trio's champions can take hold of them in every single one of these regions. Now, speaking of these regions, guess what? Yesterday in Middle East, we got to crown the first set of champions, but Asia and OCE, their games are done, which means it's time to crown new champions there in both of these regions. So, congratulations, Alan, Shamoki, and Force, 294 points, 2 victory royales, 53 eliminations, and Reese an average placement of 11.33.
Yeah, these guys were really impressive across all the 12 games, across the 2 days we had, because Asia was probably one of the closest regions coming out of the end of that first day. Total, there was, I think, 11 points, maybe 20 points between first all the way down till 12. And look who was in the first place. It was Alan, Shamoki, and Force at the end of first day, and he managed to just maintain that all the way through, placing first into the final game, and they are now our champions. So huge congratulations to these guys.
Goed gedaan.
As we take a look at the top 10 for the day, or for the 2 days at Asia, it's important to note, right, the top 3 in every single region's finals at the end of the 2 days will also qualify for the next season's finals. So you can take a look there in second place, Signal, Foolsy, Josia. They will also qualify, and they will be playing together, assuming they just stick with each other, right? As soon as they split up. In the next final, same thing could be said for Raggis, Muffin, and Curran. And Muffin, right, he won FNTS 2 seasons ago. This season only able to get third, but look, they have another shot to play in next season's finals, and I'm sure he'll be looking to reclaim that axe.
Yeah, hey, I'm not going to complain about a third by any means, but if we move over to OCE, our other region that's already wrapped up as well, Muzz, Looter, and Speedy, the TNA trio, are now 2 times champions. That is back-to-back champions. They won last season in season 5. Twee keer kampioen van Fortnite. 2 times champions. So what an accomplishment from these guys. They did it in exactly the same format as well. They were roughly 40 points behind at the end of day 1 and managed to have a huge comeback. And when you see the leaderboards, you'll see how far ahead they ended up being. Incredible performance from the TNA trio.
Yeah, big day for them to be back-to-back.
We hebben gewoon bijna 100 punten extra.
Kijk dat. 79 eliminations, more than anybody else in the region. You know, they came out hot like the UK weather today, and you know, no surprise that they were able to walk away with that FNCS championship. Bathan, Zedox, and CO in second. They finished day 1 in first place, but they weren't able to hold on to that top spot. But it's all right, because, you know, second place isn't too shabby, and they will be able to play with each other next season, as once again,
ik zweer het je, ik ga echt degene opzoeken en toevoegen aan EV.
Jinx, Alec, and Worthy in 7th, they definitely would have wanted to have a better performance, right? These are some of the premier names out of Oceania. But look, once again, you know, top 10 isn't too bad. They're going to be able to hit the drawing board, come back next season even stronger for the next time round.
That's right, and speaking of a top 10, we got to take a look at EU's current standings, right? Which trios ended in top 10 coming into day number 2. Refsguard, Andretta, Mr. Savage. But right behind them, 10.
Oei.
Janice Chapik, your trios champion from last season.
Vorig
These two
seizoen,
trios
oei.
trading places all day yesterday,
1
boys.
punt.
And now they're looking to make this an all-out brawl.
Yeah, only 1 point between them and 13 points between first down to fifth. This is an absolute battle right now for the championship. This is set up so good coming into the games you're going to watch today, because this is going to be so incredibly tense. We already know there are so many possibilities.
Savage, ja, ik denk het wel.
I think, you know what, Milan, we kind of touched on this yesterday a little bit. I think we doubted Hen, Janice, and Chapix a little bit. You know, we said, oh, these guys are contested right now off their drop spot. I think a lot of
mensen
people,
die
including us, weren't even putting them in their top
verneuken
five,
of zo, die
despite
gaan met
the
een
fact
quad
they've been
crashes
performing
steeds.
as a top team all the way through. But look, these guys are proving why they are potentially the best team in Europe, but maybe not even that, the world.
Yeah, look, you know, these guys silenced all the doubters they had. Most definitely, you know, people expect teams that are contested to not do as well. And they finished the first day in second place. And, you know, they're poised to finish in first place as long as they have a good day, right? Just 1 point behind first. It's going to be a race to see who can finish that at the end of the day. But many other of these teams are still in great positions, right? The likes of Flickeness and Thomas, who are heavy favorites, they still have a shot today. It's going to be about being able to get those points on the boards. Even if we look at the second page, right? The teams who are 11th to 20th, a lot of talent here who has the ability to potentially make a comeback, right? You take a look at the likes of Kinsel, Idrop, and Wakey. You know, Joe Stompy and Shadow, who literally won a game yesterday but weren't able to do anything else out of that. Can they potentially sort of have a bit more consistency, right? You know, Reese, so many of the most talented names in Fortnite on this page.
Yeah, some of the best names. You know, like I said, we saw Vidil, Norral, and Reason, who are currently in 16th, pop off winning the big victory royale in game 1 yesterday. If they come out with the steam that they had today in game 1 and continue that on, they may rise completely up. And it's definitely not something we've seen in any other region over and over again. So we've seen these changes going around in the leaderboard. Some teams down here managing to make themselves all the way up to the top 3, and we could definitely be seeing that here today.
Dit wordt echt spannend.
Let's take a look at the highlights, though. Let's take you back to the beginning.
Nou, hoe lang duurt het, man?
When Reason, Vidil, and O'Reilly won that first game, they had a crazy play. Look, forget that guy in Lazy Lake. These were the real Kaisers to start the day, because, you know, they started with the way you'd typically expect them to sort of finish, right, with a huge win.
Yeah, and you notice they drop straight down into the water, managed to catch themselves so clutch. That's probably one of the moments of the tournament that we'll remember the most. But game number 2 was won by Refsguard, Andrea, and Savage, who managed to win using the medkit heal off. Remember, they're currently our first place leaders, but this game was really where they solidified themselves using the corn as well. Not something we really see very typically.
Yeah, you can see game 3, Joe, Stompy, and Shadow were able to win a game. We talked about it on the leaderboards. Outside of this game, they weren't able to do much, right? So they had their win from high ground, typical of them in terms of their playstyle. But it's going to be about really being able to have more games like this over the course of these 6 games.
Yeah, and you know, this is the turning point in the tournament for us. This was Hen, Janice, and Chapik's game number 4, where they showed that even contested, these guys can pick up big victory royales. And this is where they climbed really high up the leaderboards in their first victory royale. But extremely impressive stuff from them. And this wasn't even their first and only victory royale of the game.
Yeah, you take a look now. You know, the last moments of the tournament, really, right? The last couple of games, but things really do start to get intense. You know, we had, you know, great finish, and if anything, the likes of Queasy, Trulex, and Juriki winning a game here. You can see Trulex dropping down, hitting key shots to win them the game in the end. A phenomenal performance, but we started, we finished with the team who won it all last season, right? The FNCS champions picked up that final game. And what a zone to do
deze
right?
zone.
Exactly the same as zone 1 almost,
Holy
and they won
shit.
2 games as well. So no surprise, these guys learned from that game 1, and here we go, winning game number 6.
So clean. And that package is absolutely insane, by the way. The hype, I just felt it once again, just coursing through my veins. Okay, we got to set the stage a little bit coming into day number 2, okay? I'm kind of curious to pick your brain a little bit, Reese. I wanted to see, you know, some of these trios are having a difficult time just landing and getting these contested POIs and making it out alive. So I'm curious to see, like, do you think trios might be changing up their drop spots coming into day number 2?
Yeah, I think if you look at the leaderboard, you have to think, right, if we're dropping, say, for example, the 2 teams currently in Retail Row, we've got Wolfie's team going against Kiko's team, both not performing too well in the leaderboards right now. Both, I think, 20th all the way down till 33rd, I think, somewhere in that range. So they're basically going to have to think, what we're going to change up on their strategy. And Wolfie's team during the qualifier and also during the heats have ended up dropping in Dirty Docks and also Steamy Stacks. So you've got to think, if it's not working out for them so far in retail, maybe they go Dirty and contest Thomas Flick and a Nas, or maybe even up to Steamy and contest our current place leaders, which has potentially been alluded to on Twitter so far already by Wolfie. So could see some changes in drop spots today.
Yeah, I think that's always bound to happen on that second day, right? Teams sort of maybe get a bit nervous about how they performed on the first day, so they look to switch things up. Definitely a possibility.
All right, Levin, talk to me about some sleeper teams, because I feel like you've got one that didn't get much broadcast time yesterday, but they're still performing extremely well.
Well, yeah, Zeke, there were 3 teams in the top 10 that stood out to me for contrasting reasons, right? You know, Kiriachi, Stormy, right, and Toos over at Slurpee. Really interesting team, one of the best teams mechanically in all of Europe, and they were incredibly consistent. They played incredibly well, but the one thing that stood out to me, 2.83 average eliminations, lowest of anybody in the top 10. Weird for a team who you maybe expect to be a bit more aggressive outside of Slurpee, right? Taking a look over at Misty Meadows though, Pizza, Ardit for Strokey, a record-breaking team from the qualifying weeks. Complete opposites, right? 5 average eliminations, the second highest of anybody in all of the lobby, right? These guys were incredibly aggressive, getting in a lot of their points via eliminations, and all the way at the top of the map, right? This one is the most peculiar one to me. This one's the one I still...
What?
No. They have no games in the top 10. That's
a
like
live event is happening right
How
now.
do you get top 10 without any games in the top 10? Crazy stuff. If they can be a bit more consistent, imagine where they could finish, right? Way higher than top 10 you'd expect.
Oh
so
my god.
Interesting to see how these guys do out of Stealthy Stronghold.
Je moet echt
Now,
hier
boys,
boven
we're going to
staan.
talk about this, all right? Flick, Anas, Thomas HD, a trio we think can go all the way, but right now they're coming into day number 2 in 8th. I mean, what do they need to do? What do we need to change up to climb these leaderboards?
Well, I think the big thing... Oh, no, you
No, go ahead. No, take away.
We're so excited.
All I was going to really say about these guys is the big thing is that, you know, they need to be a bit more aggressive in terms of surge positioning, right? We saw in zones like this where they land Dirty Docks, you know, they weren't really getting too aggressive. They usually take kills like this to look for surge tags. But typically of the better teams, you'd maybe see them get a bit deeper, maybe try and get positions a bit deeper in the zone so they have a larger range of teams to get for storm surge tags. Nothing too, you know, out of the norm, nothing too spectacular, but just a small tweak that they could make.
Now, I kind of want to shift topics really quickly because I want to remind everybody of our predictions coming into day number 2 of the finals. Levin, Shayo, you both agree that Anas, Flick, and Thomas HG, and this is why I brought up my point, because you do think they could go all the way.
Yeah, I'm sticking with the boys. I'm sticking with the boys. I think they will be hungry to finally get that FNCS championship win, and they are still poised to really, you know, put a good performance into the sitting in 8th at the moment. There is still hope for them.
Yep, and you know, I've gone with Tayson, Nate, and 4ZR. You know, these guys have fixed all their mistakes, it seems, and into yesterday, when I spoke to Tayson, he said, as soon as we get Storm Surge, we are fine, and that's exactly what they did on day 1. They did have a little bit lower average eliminations than they normally would, so if today we see them with large pop-offs, this is going to be them climbing up the leaderboards, potentially looking for that championship again.
Yeah, and Sancho looks like a genius because his pick is in first right now with Refsguard, Savage, and Andretta, so if they can just stay there, Sancho's going to take it all today.
Absolutely. Well, we're not wasting any more time. It's time to kick off the competition. We're going over to Sancho West and Shy Wager to start our day.
This is the finale of the finals, the last day of a multi-week event. Whether you're in Party Royale, on the couch, or watching along with your friends, welcome to the European FNCS. Sancho, a slew of games to play today, $1.3 million on the line for EU as well. This is going to be insane.
And don't you go anywhere
hier gaan we,
because the
jongens.
action is
Daar
already
starten we.
kicking
Kom op.
off with our #1 place team being contested at Steamy Stacks.
Ik
We
mute
all
wel
saw
mijn
this going
mic,
down
by
on
the way.
social media. Will it be Wolfie's actually here? No, it's actually Nexus Trio. This is what we're talking about. The adjustments are already happening in day 2 because $1 million+ are on the line, and The championship is at stake, and here is our defending champions, Hen, Janice, and Chapix, already trading between Highcrest. It is a deja vu moment, the sequel to the fireworks that we saw in day one. Shio, it's already picking up, baby. It is the FNCS EU.
Yeah, and it's absolute deja vu. Highcrest already going down inside the first game. We saw 12 games played yesterday. In all, or 6 games played yesterday. There's 12 games to play. In all 6, these guys fought over and over again. Highcrest either going down first or Hen this time. It will be Highcrest. Knight and Vortex will have to try to pick up the slack here, but with a top tier trio who's won this POI over and over, just breathing down your neck, it seems absolutely impossible.
Here we go. These are very important moments. Looks like Andretta actually gets knocked, so we'll keep an eye on the feed on that here. That is our #1 team already a knock against them. Let's go ahead and focus back.
4 kijkers, welkom iedereen. Ik mute wel mijn mic steeds, zodat het wel spannend wordt.
Basically so close getting a repeat championship.
We'll flip back and forth between those POIs. Now the fight's actually breaking down at Steamy Stacks. Savage, Refsguard seem to have wiped Screwy and Nexus off the face of the Fortnite island, just with a little bit of a consequence of Andretta getting knocked. It feels like Sancho just got a free buff points off spawn. There wasn't really any much contention whatsoever. I think Savage might actually still be looking for the rest of the squad for the moment. They might be slightly split, looking at how things are going so far, but with this loadout, there should be no problems at all for Savage to wrap things up.
This is what they were worried about going into day 2. They thought they will be contested. Usually Steamy Stacks in the EU region is historically heavily contested. Last season, Andretta Resguard was scrapped, dealt with 2-3 trios at times contested in there. So there's no stranger to that. They expected it. They bought review it and they were ready. And now Janice, Hit, and Chapix were ready for Highcrest. Once again, Vortex is going to be left alone right now, and they're going to actually go ahead and catch him out in the bush. So far, it is play. The bush trade, when you all got it in the back pocket, that's all you can do. And right now, you're looking at a 6-1 advantage right now going Hen's way. And anytime any team walks out of Craigie, they do really well. And when Hen's team walks out of Craigie, they get double-digit victory royales. That is the potential of the pop-off that they have here. But Shio, pop-off potential for Thomas A. Flicking on us. Day 2 is usually their day.
Yeah, usually on day 2, this team you're watching on screen really ends up popping off. They're landing at Dirty Docks, and if this is your first time watching the FNCS, the early game is just about controlling where you land. You guys probably have your spots too of where you want to go. It could be big like Dirty, it could be small like this junction sort of, you know, POI where Red Rush, Exteriors are dropping at. They have a huge split where they travel around the map. There's many different things to do. The basic rule for everyone, though, is just to survive. If you're fighting anyone, you got to win that fight. So we already saw it happen. The big names coming off of spawn unscathed, basically. And everyone else is, you know, really amping up to have a very good first game. There's still 30 trios alive right now. The only 2 that have dropped we watched, that was Screwy's trio and then Highcrest's at Craggy Cliffs. Everyone else is going to be rotating now, looking for lots of damage around the map.
And that was our 3rd place team, Mysterios, with Red Rush and Mappy, with a kind of an unexpected performance. Not anybody really had them. Red Rush, the FNCS squad champion, alongside with Mysterios and Mappy, they had a really solid day. They kind of played conservatively. They were able to get a lot of placement points alongside with some valuable elims. But the thing that they have to work on is, can they continue that pace? They're pretty much playing out of body, like we mentioned yesterday, and that's pretty difficult to do in a high-stakes lobby like this one.
Absolutely. And for this team on screen, I mean, you can see the stat, the importance for these guys on the second day of competition. It's more monumental than any other team we're going to be watching today. For like Anas and Thomas HD, their day 1s usually are kind of scraping by. They'll be in the top 10. Won't be something crazy we're watching, but on day 2, they really start popping off. Sometimes you see multiple victory royales. We see lots of high placement games. The issue is, I'm not sure looking at this lobby if it's going to be as easy as before. Just look at the map, how spread out it is for every single team, where the zone is going to be looking at as well. The level of competition is so high, and for these guys on the top right to be able to perform, I mean, they're going to have to pull out miracles from inside of them. Like, it is so difficult, especially with so many good players in the lobby, to be consistent, be at the top. They can't miss out on one game, especially the first game, the one we're watching right now. They're going to have to do a very, very good job while they're playing, or their entire momentum will be just thrown away for the day.
We already saw a taste of zone 1. It's going to be a northern zone. So you have Hen Trio looking really solid. You know, we already talked about Levin, talked about at the analyst desk. Nebs' trio has been doing really solid considering they have not been finishing in the top 10. If you go back and VOD review Nebs' trio, game 3, they ran over some of the biggest names in the region, getting 5+ eliminations, I think 8. And that is something that I have to keep my eye on the rest of the way, because they were taking out the likes of Clement. They were taking out the likes of Adil's trio. So, hey, you got to watch out for Nebs, who kind of surprised everyone during the qualifier stage, being able to qualify out of Southeast Stronghold. They're looking really good, already primed to have a fantastic day 2, just like Indretta, Revsguard, and Savage. And I think you said it really good, Shio. Basically, so sometimes it's good to get contested because now they could just go ahead and post up. You don't have to really worry about Storm Surge. And even though they didn't really have problems within day 1, this makes things alleviates it just a little bit there.
Watching Wakey Eye dropping can also rotate some people who are dropping on the way outsides of the map.
Oh my!
To resort to just going inside cars. Sometimes though, depending on how and where you're rotating, you can just get battered up while you drive around the map. The big thing about day 2 is just to make sure you're playing that first game very close to the chest. Sometimes we're watching EU yesterday. While the game started to go on a little bit, people started to experiment, play a little bit more loose. We had, like, you know, not that many people surviving, lots of people fighting in zone. This time though, at least for this game, everyone's taking it very seriously. You're gonna start seeing a lot of bases pop up around the map. iDrop's already doing it. Here's Pizza, Ardent, and Fast Roki. This trio is the most troublesome on this entire day and on the Fortnite map. Their actual strategy is to play around other people, make sure when they're actually lacking and not watching, they take over their position. They love the third-party fights. You can see it right now. They're bothering another trio, just trying to rotate. They have to make an entire wall just to get by this river. This is crazy. Fast Roki, Ardent, Pizza, especially in the endgame, man, they love taking over height and just interrupting people. The crazy thing is, though, when there's no one to actually counter, they don't actually end up doing too much. They end up not having a game plan set in stone. So I hope they find a trio to kind of act off of, or they might be in trouble.
Now we're taking a look at Bloomy's trio, putting pressure down on Tayson's trio. Builds are on fire because the car exploded. Bloomy's trio is kind of a trio that's coming from that west coast of Fort Crumpet. If you didn't watch yesterday, they've been doing solid work considering they've been avoiding a lot of the kind of the scary trios coming out of that side of the map. And they did really well. They've been around the top 10. A lot of people expected them just to be Storm Surge tags for that side of the map, but they were able to get away, make some smart rotations, rotate early, like reset how important it can be. Now, when I was watching Tayson and ForZR, they kind of play a little bit conservative. Even though they made it to in-game, they weren't really looking for eliminations. They were just looking for placement. If they can match what we all know what they can with that elim firepower that they do have behind their trio, they can essentially move up the leaderboard a little bit faster rather than just staying kind of in the middle of the top pack.
Yeah, Red Rush on your screen now, 4-0 that we were watching before. A lot of these invisible type trios have just survived so far on the first day. For day 2, if they want to end up coming first, yeah, you got to hit these shots like Mappy is right now as well, but you have to start playing for the win. Take some risks and grab this game for your own trio.
That's what I was about to ask you, Shio. Is it just about being conservative and trying to sit all the placements, or is it about going for the win? And you answered it right there. You gotta go for the win because no one's gonna give you the crown. You're gonna have to take it from our defending FNCS champions and Hen's trio.
Sometimes, depending on the zone, you never know exactly. You know, the game can give you that win. Yesterday, we saw the craziest things towards the south side. When I'm looking at the middle of the map, though, all these consistent type trios who end up playing low ground, they end up winning out the games a little bit more. It's very difficult for height to do much. You get bounce back zones. They don't have that much room to end up getting eliminations. And eliminations are also a big wave and name of the game. Take these two trios, for example, as well. Trulex Squeezy on the bottom side, DKS Gray and Shakaz on top. Trulex, the guy on your screen right now, glorious and no pun intended at just playing these end games and having a position on height. These guys controlled the game yesterday so much from the 5th zone onwards, but then basically choked after that. You know, they could not hold on to that title spot, the big all the way up top high ground, and other teams rolled over them. Maybe they can clap back today. You have to make changes. That's what Wolfies is going for on your screen right now. Actually bullying Exteriors and Mappy, but maybe just looking for damage. They'll move on. You don't want to throw your game over just one mid-game fight. You want to survive for the whole entire time.
You're looking at what's happening, the adjustments already. Wolfies was 15-15 that yellow house, games 1-2. They kind of split retail row. with against Kiko's trio. Now they're rotating early. We're seeing the retail row teams rotate early. Scram's trio, the other retail row, is rotating towards Lazy Lake. This time, Wolfies is kind of pushing that Cammy split, and that Cammy split right now is being held down by Red Rush's trio.
We talked about early game as well in terms of how players want to, you know, go about their game. It's about defending your drop spot. Now towards mid game, you'll see this cool little graphic above the mini map on the right side. It says damage threshold 121 above for Toos. This entire mechanic is called Storm Surge. So basically, when you're rolling in this game, there's so many players that end up staying alive. You want to give these guys a challenge and make sure the entire server is staying healthy as well. So 90 players will have to drop down to 70 for this entire player threshold, and that's decided by how much damage they do. So you basically have to deal damage or you get dealt damage by this purple lightning that comes down. You'll see it in a second. Toos is ahead of it right now. Everyone after their drop spots is playing for this storm surge threshold. They'll look for damage. For Toos, it was long range beams. Over here, it's box fights between 5 different trios. Kiko last alive on his squad. Demento's following closely behind them. This is a horror movie. He's trying to move forward. So many beams from all spots. There's an arrow in his elbow. This has to hurt. He's going down, and that's one trio taken out.
You know, sometimes you take arrows to the shin, but there's nothing like an arrow to the elbow. That's going to knock you down. That's going to take you out. But now Podesai one last MXR with back, like very last place right now. They have been very inconsistent. They were going down to Stealthy Stronghold. In fact, game 5, they were kind of splitting some randomness. But now maybe they could come up and kind of shake up that bottom of the board, because right now they're affecting this rotation right here just by being here.
Hey, you're talking about randomness. What is this? This is, I'm counting like 7 different trios at the same time fighting in Storm. There's Fast Roki, the Interrupters, High Ground fighting Stompy right. Down below, Dementos is not stopping. Jamside is going down in the build.
Oh, man.
This is a crazy 6-way fight. ST's here too, making it off spawn for, I think, the first time I'm watching, and they're looking real good with this loadout.
This is just a repeat of day 1. All the southern teams from Misty Meadows, Lazy Lake, Caddy Corner, all being late on the rotations and all colliding as you're seeing Jamside getting eliminated by Podesai. This is what's happening the entire tournament. It looks like it's going to be a repeat in day 2. If any of these trios want to get better for the day in placement, they just have to avoid this kind of white line engagement that's happening right here, Shayo. This traffic jam hasn't stopped, and this is game 7 out of the 12.
It's going to get crazy as the day goes on, too. These are teams playing conservative. Bad Sniper inside Storm, eating some damage, looking for an angle. Not going to really find it, but has some meat to eat, so it's all good on his end. Once again, in terms of reading what's going on screen, it might be confusing. You know, there's health bars to watch. Once that threshold thing pops up on the right side as well, that's like an extra health bar to kind of show you guys how the trio's doing. If they're about 300, 400 damage above, it's really good. Anything below that, sometimes they could be in trouble. There's even more trios, though, still inside the Storm. Hellfire's so far back. Okay, never mind. It's the reverse side. They're actually in. Everyone's looking good.
Krijgen we iets? Nee, je krijgt geen item, maar ik vind het gewoon leuk om naar te kijken.
And like, this is going to be rough rotates all the way across.
A very nightmare type of rotation if the zone keeps pulling north, but also a nightmare start for Red Rush, Asterios, and Mappy down already. Our 3rd place team is out. That gives room for 4CR, Tasted, and Nate to move up the board, and Queasy, Trulix, and Jerky right now. Like, you nailed it, man. They've been holding on to height. They will be at height. Like, about 4 out of the 6 games, they were on height, and they got it taken away from them. And only one of them, they were able to hold on and get a victory royale. So expect this team to continuously to fight for height, to expend all their mats, to hold on to height, do whatever that they can, because they're all in for that strategy. And when you go all in, you saw it already, they get down into shambles. But I'm expecting them to at least get 1 or 2 victory royales here today.
Dus je krijgt geen backbring, nee. Nee, je krijgt hier niks voor. Was dat maar zo. Nee, nee, je krijgt er geen gratis items voor. Helaas.
Shooting over and over again. No one is leaving space for anyone to walk by. Even Nate, so far away from this trio, is looking to affect this one. Trulex getting hard beamed. This is troublesome.
This is just what it means, that how much eliminations are. 2 points apiece, Shio. Expect people to go for more elims because they have to make up some ground to catch up to the top of the leaderboard.
Everyone's also just bunched up at the south side right now. There's a river all the way in between. Some elevation will be tricky to actually navigate. There is one big hill, and there are some kings on it. A god trio maybe who's watching, kind of an opposite lifeguard on this river. They're actually looking to take out people who might be drowning, and everyone's gonna have to start to swim in just a second. Jerky's already down, so Trulix and Queasy are already looking bad. And look at who they have to go by. Snazy, Andalex, Tuz Kiriachi, Shakel's up top. This is like playing a game on the hardest veteran difficulty, and you have no ammunition. Your movement speed is slower as well. I don't know how they're going to get out of this one.
This is going to be a ruthless rotation. All eyes to see who could be. Look at all the hard match already expended here, because they have been box fighting. They have been trading blows here. The entire south side of the map here in zone 4. Let's take a look at it. Yes, so many trios are on the south side here. The north side is still a little bit going to be troublesome, but not so much. And there's already a team right there in the orange in the middle of that map. They're going to have strong positioning. That is the high point of this section. But the river is available for rotations. On the top right of your screen, that is X-Squeeze's trio, who've had a rough start to their tournament run. Shifting down to Camp Cod, having trouble with Storm Surge, not being able to get what they normally do. Let's see how they do here in day 2, making those adjustments.
No one's holding anything back. Stormy Red already going down. Tuz Kiriachi, they need consistent games. The reason they're inside the top 10 right now is they're really good on placement. Woo! Just like all these teams you see on your screen, they're lacking eliminations. Janice and Chapix doing their classic, what we saw yesterday. Low ground mountainous rotation. Every time they end up doing this, the zone plays for them. I'm not sure if this is like a type of rain dance, but they get every zone when they're in this position. They look good while doing it, and they end up clutching games.
We already saw who's at height holding it. It is Vidil's trio who've made those game plan movements that they were talking about, those adjustments. They said on social media, we have a plan. We saw yesterday they were kind of just pushing everything, getting in some scrums in mid-game, rotating late, but now they're early, and now they have prime position to get beams. So now they're changing up their box fighting mentality for Storm Surge, and they're just going to do it from a distance. Wow, I'm impressed.
And they came through yesterday with a crazy win in the first game as well. 12 total eliminations. Looked really good. Are these guys hot starters, though? Because after that, it was just mistake after mistake. They fell down the board, and they're in 16th place now. They used to be first on the day, and they ended at 16th.
If they could just chill out a bit, just don't use the NOS, don't use the turbo, just kind of just ease off the gas just a little bit, coast, put that bad in close, and maybe they could just get on through. Because when they get to in-game, they're dangerous. We have yet to see them perform in this tournament at in-game.
Jason 4ZR Nate, similar type of circumstance. They just need to end up grabbing this game for themselves. I'll watch a lot of people rotating beside them. I'm still feeling a little bit of a survival vibe from this trio. They're not looking to be in a big spot to win the game currently, but at the same time, they have a max zone to rotate. So let's hold off on that for a second. Tayson getting tagged from the right side. There's even other trios rotating later than this. They have to move through a maze. They don't have a map. They're not sure what's going to be in front of them right here. It's going to be Wakey and Floki and Decipto setting a trap. Andalex uses the river and goes by fast. MXR Wildlast Podicide, they're moving too. And right above them is Bad Sniper with Andretta as a solo player. Refguard and Savage down. How did this happen? This is your first place team right now, cumulatively over the 7 games. I know it just says 7 points right there, but that's just for day 2. The first place team has 1 person left. If Andretta goes down, their team stops getting placement, they might drop out of first. All eyes are on Andretta for this end game, and there's so many people looking to take him out to try to grab the lead.
Andretta has to go back at the time machine. He finished 24th in the World Cup solos, so he could kind of dip into the past, pull that rabbit out of the hat. Maybe there's some magic here, because his job is just all about getting placement as many points as possible before he gets lobbied.
Oh no, this is trouble. This is the 3rd time I'm watching this happen.
It happens.
This happens, CS.
It happens.
Throwing these things close range, they're so lethal though. Look at Vbucks' health just go down more and more. Now he's at 30, used to be at 100. He's going down to 20 as well. It's so hard to run away from those stingfish, but once again, you use them in close range, they end up doing damage to you as well. This entire box too, this complex of builds has so many top trios, and making sure you medkits up. These guys are going all in on their HP. They're looking to just take this end game by storm.
Oh yeah, and the storm has already moved away from all of our competition. The first moving has been revealed and is going back towards Dirty Docks. This is going to be a very dirty, a very dangerous rotation. And Thomas, AC, and Austin Flick, we said that day 2 is their day. Are they going to be able to seize it and have that pop-off game, Shio?
This is not only the most important day, but this has to be the most important game. The thing we've seen on EU, especially early, is people like to contest height. They like to interrupt Thomas, Flick, and Anas, but look how far this split goes. Thomas is back in an old zone a minute away. Anas and Flick are already all the way on the front side, building a new base. So these guys have real estate on all corners of the map. Janice, Hen, and Chapix, they're going down to on the backside of Storm.
Man.
This is absolutely ruthless. People have to make it up a mountain, go down a mountain. It's tough. The hill's in the way, and Chapix is the last person alive on this squad to make the rotate.
Chapix is usually the tarper. He could navigate these builds. He could do those layer switches. He could just hold on as much as possible, but he cannot just get any attention looking his way. Down at the ultimate low with only 25 HP. This is the defending champion here who had the momentum leaving from day one, walking away with the victory royale. He's going to do all that he can. Now they're in the second threshold placement, but let's take an eye on high. Thomas HC, Anas, and Flick here, putting some pressure down below. They have the ammo. Look at the AR. They have all the options they can to put the pressure down on low ground.
Every player playing scared, but fear gets relieved as the zone actually bounces back. Everyone on middle and low ground, even the people getting struck by this purple lightning from Storm Surge, are safe and can breathe for the moment. Height will have to work overtime to try to break these builds and go for shots. Look how tough it is. Brick builds everywhere. Metal. Wow. Vidil, no rally. They're surviving on low. They get to have a little bit of a break. Yeah, even Andretta's alive. The first place team has one player. He takes out Sun in mid ground. Meanwhile, Thomas, Flick, and Anas are looking for anything right now. They only have 2 eliminations, Sancho. I've never seen them this, unaffected on the lobby. This is troublesome for them. They need to try to wrap up this game.
Yeah, but this is where they start cooking up there as they both get iRes and Indretta right there. This is where they start getting eliminations, when the lobby starts getting really tight and congested right now. The most important thing is their builds are so low, so they're going to have to get closer. Already they're setting up someone with the heals. Thomas HC is holding on to some medkits here, so he is going to be that heal up win condition. Anas and Flicker have to go down here, but look, Noah Riley and Badil and Reason are there on the low ground, and they're going to clean up the Slayer here, and they get Etsy, and they get Bad Sniper. Noah Riley and Badil and Reason are here in the end game, and they have the potential to pop off even more, baby!
Low ground scrappy, high ground free. There's so many different types of scenes we're seeing so far in this game. One trio in the middle. Flick falls down, big fall damage. Noah Riley in his box. He's in a pit of Vipers, and there's no chances to survive. It's too venomous. Thomas HD and Anas have to do this as a duo. They've done it before, but at the same time, there's so many different players of high calibers down below.
With the zone going towards their backyard, this is going to be the game that could be the signature game that I was talking about in day one. They already almost had it, but Hen took that away from them. They're not going to let it go away here. Marvin with a phenomenal performance, the best performance they had today.
Now this is where zone starts to get so hard for the low ground trios. It's so tricky. Everything's kind of just getting claustrophobic. The walls are closing in. The zone's pushing people next to a big mountain. One last gets taken out. There's no harpoon here. Yes, Anas only has 7 builds, but it might be enough to last just 50 seconds. They have to connect to this build. They're beaming down. It's lasers from the sky, and not even a planet could survive this pressure. Right now, Marvin, he's working around the build. Somehow everyone's escaped. Thomas is going for the beams when Anas finds the first. They're still staying up. It's a patient game. Reason last alive 2v1, and he could still do it. He has all the mats from the eliminated bodies below. We're going over a bridge. It's going to be a stalemate for about 30 seconds. If Anas and Thomas don't drop down, yeah, they're not going to. They're going to stay up, and Reason has some time to breathe.
What does Reason have in his inventory if he has enough builds just to hold out here? Reason, they had the day one victory out, game one popped off huge. If Reason could clutch, and no, Anas says not so fast. Big elbow jump, but Reason claps back. Reason still can't he get the siphon? He does. If he could find Thomas HT, Reason could have the clutch. Oh my goodness! What? Are you kidding me? Reason gets the victory royale. How, bro? How? Chio, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Thomas HD, 1 second off of the med kit all the way on high ground is what I basically see and how it looks like. Reason gets the siphon at the last millisecond of time as well, wins out the game. This man, not even a troll under a bridge, a goat under a bridge, clutches the unclutchable.
Man, let's just go to the desk. Go to the desk.
What the heck am I watching? This is just the first game. Wow, dude. Okay, listen. Reason got put in one of the most difficult situations you could be put in as a trio. You have one member left alive in those final few zones, and that member's thinking, okay, what do I have to do? Like, what? At this point, is it placement? Is it elims? He's like, you know what? let me just channel my Sprite energy and just roll up in there and get the victory royale, Reese. That's what I like to see.
We cannot have tier 1 teams messing up medkit timings in the end game. We saw Thomas hit the zone, and then as he started to pop the medkit, you saw him start to move a little bit afterwards. He'd already messed up to start with. This is like a clinical play that we have to have locked down. We've seen a lot of this actually on NA East, and then messing up the timings of it. We're actually really yet to see that, and that definitely was a bit of a choke, which allowed Reason just absolutely to pop off. And you notice he was live as a solo for a long time as well. Huge props to Reason for clutching that, but they did win game 1 yesterday. Will they manage to keep the steam going?
This is the story of last season's, champions, because you look at the last 2 teams there. This is the 3rd place team from last season versus the 2nd place team from last season. And if you actually remember back to last season, Reason had some phenomenal clutches back then as well. And he's back this season with just the clutch genes in his veins. How has he won a 1v2 against one of the best teams in the world? Like, just frame it like that, and you start to really understand how crazy what he just did is. And, we could be coming back in about 5 games and looking at that as being the defining moment in what turned their tournament around. That victory out pushes them up the standings.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, man. Even just being able to say, like, even if you just ended in 2nd place, it's like, wow, you clutched up so hard to at least hit 2nd. Nope. Let me just 1v2 this other trio. No problem. That's how we start the competition here on day number 2 of the finals. Now let's talk about drop spots. Reese, at the very beginning of the show, I asked you if anything would be changed up. Did anything get changed up?
Minorly. Look, minor things changed up.
Okay.
But some things don't change there, Zeke, because you know what? If you ever watched Kiriachi's gameplay before, this team's been dropping here for a long time. But what's very important and very critical is the absolute sharpshooter eye that Kiriachi has. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. That stormed me down instantly.
That is insane. Look, we know what he can do with those kind of rifles in his hands. Similar things can be said in terms of Pizza Ardit for Strokey. These guys, day 1, we talked about how aggressive they were in terms of eliminations, how successful they were out of Misty. And to start off with, they were obviously known to be contested at Misty, but they've still remained fine. And it looks like they have the potential to maybe replicate what's happened yesterday, since it doesn't seem like they'll have too many problems there. Similar things could be said for Flickiness and Thomas. However, we just saw there at the end, it's all going to well having your drop spot uncontested. You can't win the crucial 2v1. What does it all mean? Regardless, though, you take a look at the standings and things don't look too different yet, considering that Hen's trio and Refscar's trio did sort of go down before those sort of closing moments. But even with that being said, you can see Flickiness and Thomas up there in 3rd place now. Forziar, Tayson, and Nate sitting in 4th. Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky sitting in 5th. You know what's funny, Reese? When I look at this, this is literally almost my top 5 prediction list, except for Hen, Janice, and Chapix. Like, all the teams we predicted to do well are performing right now.
Absolutely, and this has just gone even closer. Apart from, let's be real, Hen, Janice, Chapix pulling away a little bit with their eliminations off spawn that they got. That's obviously a good few points. And no, Chapix clutched all the way up till 9th by himself there. So 2 moving zones he managed to make it through, which was really big for the team. That's why they've started to kind of take that lead a little bit. Again, Andrea managed to do a similar thing, clutching up all the way to 12th. So great performance from these guys. But again, Kiriachi's team, some of these other teams down that we kind of just mentioned, they're still middling, right? In that 7th till 8th and 9th. We did see Vbucks up in the end game again, so that's then moved them up 2 slots as well. And then from that big victory royale, now Reason, Vidil, Noah Riley up into the top 10. So 5 more games to go. Hopefully they're going to be able to keep that steam going.
Oh man, momentum, baby. We have it. We have more games here waiting for us. A lot of these trios are looking to shut down this top 3 because remember, it's top 3 that will auto-qual going into Chapter 2 Season 7. But you know what time it is, Fortnite fam. We're getting right back aboard the battle bus. Make way, because Sancho West and Shywage are coming through. They're your casters for the game once again. Let's kick it back their way.
Game number 2 of day number 2, and I'm not even still over that first one, Sancho. If that's how things are going to go today, I am not ready.
I think that's how it's going to go today. It's going to go down to the last moment. We saw last season, it went down to the final game, the final rotations, the final moments. Our top 3 was still up, and this is the defending champions once again, who are essentially getting 6 points out of this engagement. If they could keep up that pace, and Chapix getting that 9th place finish, they have an opportunity to just barely outpace Indretta's trio, who's been going really conservative. If you take a look at after Indretta's victory royale, that trio basically just kind of averaged out the rest of the way. Low elims, decent placement. And if that continues to happen here in day 2, I think we'll see a back-to-back championship.
I'm liking how you mentioned the fact that they're getting, these elims off spawn for free, basically. They're the only team to have multiple double-digit elims from yesterday, the 10+. So, a big factor of that is these 3 elims off spawn that they're getting the chance to get every game and have, as you said, 6-1 so far right now. Like, they're looking real good off spawn. At the moment, it's a little bit more, conservative approaching this fight. We see Knight, Vortex, and Hycris. I think they got the bunker chest. They have a lot of power off this POI, but Tapixen and Janus have a wide split. They had a lot of access to so many chests. Hycris on the backside now. He's trying to look to go and engage on this trio, but at the same time, they have so many shields to pop and extras to hold on to too. They will win this war, but it's about that first battle as well. If they go down early, if one person gets picked, I think that's the only way Hycris really has a chance here.
Correct, and that has happened, and we've seen clutches between Janus and Chapix able to pick up the pace after Hens getting knocked.
I'm calling it already, though. Just looking at the state of Vortex's shields, it's too late. If elims needed to happen, it needed to happen now. Is Chapix actually going for this? I mean, he's feeling himself. The bow and arrow close range, but not going to be able to hit that type of shot. Hycris and Vortex are just desperate right now over these builds. They're looking for anything. They need one big shot, but even then, look at the minis in Chapix's inventory. He has so many to delay this fight. Mats are the only thing. They have 5. They've made so much investment into making this big bridge, underground base, and goes back into another house. Chapix follows. Vortex has no idea where he is. They're refarming again.
The big thing that Hycris' trio is holding on to is they did have a top 10 finish with about 7 or 8 elims. So they understand that if they're able to walk away, they'll be able to have a big game themselves.
And look at the trick that Janus, Hen, and Chapix have done at this POI. They basically forced Vortex, Knight, and Hycris to go over to this left side. They used to have so much control. Janus staying back a little bit now has a chance for a big flank to actually corner these guys. They had complete control of the POI. Janus is going up, fighting 2 people by himself. It's Knight and Vortex. Chapix has to peek from down below. 5 builds left on Janus as well. He's going to try to run away, farm what he can as he moves inside a building. Yes, that's where you have the most protection. He's going to play sneaky like while he attracts all the attention. This makes room for Chapix and Hen on the other side to go all the way up. This is a back and forth, and it looks like they have the reads on Hycris' trio.
It really doesn't matter what weapons are in the inventory here in this engagement. We've seen a gray makeshift shotgun get the job done. So you see that green makeshift normally in anyone else's hands, you'd be like worried, but look at it. It's going to be fine. They're setting up. Shy, break this down for us.
Yeah, right now, too, it's not only a war of HP and loadout, it's a war of resources. While Janus, I believe, was on the backside and used all his mats as a solo, when Hycris, Vortex, and Knight wanted to respond to him, all 3 of them had to use their mats to catch up. So they basically, look how many ramps are invested over here from all 3 players. They're losing this war on resources. Only Janus has basically used his mats right here. Chapix and Hen have been just farming up the whole time. We'll see how that goes. It looks like cerebrally is going to be Janus' team that's winning right now. At Steamy Stacks, Andretta, Savage, Refsguard, they had their early game fight. Slender got taken out immediately from what I saw over there. It'll be free for those guys to keep moving on. Right now, it just looks like Knight is confused. I'm not sure if he knows exactly where these guys are. Janus was out of builds. Now he's almost up to back to 200-300. It's about these resources. Just keep watching them. They have so many to farm down here. And Knight up top, he can't drop down to farm. As soon as they drop the farm, Janus will hear that. They'll go back up. Their position is so strong right now.
This is a great defensive stance. In the previous engagements, when I looked at the VOD, they have the potential to flank. Hen really went all the way towards Pristine Point, almost, it felt like. He went that way, looped back around, and got some big beams in the back. So this is not an engagement that's going to be over just yet. You already mentioned Retail Row already having issues. We saw as well Weeping Woods, Savid going down in the feed. That's been a battle that's been going back and forth the entire time, with Savid having the upper advantage, but momentum is going to be the big factor going forward.
Yeah, and why is this happening? Why is it different from before? You know, the last game we saw Janus and Chapix go for an immediate fight, and it was scrappy. It's because of the psychology around it. Look at the zone on the left. They have zone at Craggy. They can really draw this out, and they've baited Hycris all day into this fight. They know they're not going anywhere. They know they've basically are living in their heads rent-free, Janus at least, and they're going to go for this fight no matter what to try to win it. They're down 6-1 as well. Because of this, this is free surge tags for Janus. This fight will happen no matter what. And man, Vortex is getting antsy. They're already shooting shots down below Sancho. It really, right now, it seems like Hen, Chapix, and Janus are inside their heads.
The only time I've seen a disengagement here in the tournament is Hens Trio went to Flopper Island to disengage to regain a little bit of resources, to regain a little bit HP, and then they came back and wiped out Knight. The thing that's going to be different here is that Trippers Trio that usually rotates into that little clip area hasn't been here just yet. Now they're rolling in. They're rolling in right now, and they're going to send beams, and we saw Chapix get beamed from that area here, and that could be just enough for High Curse's Trio to find that opening to get rid of Hens Trio.
Now, what Sancho's calling for is basically a third party of a different team on this left hill that comes in, and Uguay 74, that's Chapix, by the way, was on high ground. He was in the position of this opposite team, Vortex, the night before. He got beamed hard. I think these guys have learned from that. They're now playing low. There's no chance that third party team can actually shoot them. So they're actually sitting pretty, waiting for Knight to make a move, and they can't. Meanwhile, on other sides of the map, Lazy Lake always active, especially with Bad Sniper Marvin and SC. They've actually moved towards the center of the map off the POI, chasing a fight. Bad Sniper with the big shots on the Dementos. They're still going forward. This one's getting real scrappy too. I mean, Sancho, no one's holding anything back on day two.
Not at all. And Marvin's Trio had their best finish in game 1 of this day here, which is 7 out of the 12. But this is just a messy rotation. This southern rotation, I call it the struggle rotation, man. The struggle of the south right here that's happened real. Every time, we've already seen it in game 7. Now in game 8, you're seeing all the kind of chaos that's happening. Jamside hasn't had a great tournament run because of this, and you already seen Pizza, who's just able to be a little bit better because he's able to rotate. But now Pizza is actually late rotating here, as you see Fast Rookie Art and Pizza on the backside of this engagement down in Gorgeous Gorge.
I've never seen people voluntarily go down to the gorge, let alone 3 teams to fight. So there's definitely something weird going on for their game strategies.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you know, what ends up happening in the EU is they stopped saying, you know what, I'm done doing long range Storm Surge tags. I want a box fight. It happened last season. They get up in people's faces. The more confidence is happening, it's like, we could beat these guys. I could hear Levin saying it in my voice. We could beat these guys and we could take it to them. And that's what I think what it is. More importantly, I said it in the previous game, Shayo, it comes down to elimination points being 2 points. You get that value out of that. We've already been seeing the 6 points that's been helping out Hens Trio kind of bolt them up a little bit. They took over first place against Revsguard's Trio. Wow, this is a stalemate. It's
that gorge is looking anything but gorgeous right now with all those teams in there and all the builds. While that happens,
gorge.
4ZR, Nate, and Tayson, they've almost even taken height over Percival. Actually, a misstep. Percival goes down, Tayson misses a ramp, and now he has high ground. That was too easy. And now he's on the chase down. Percival shaking in his boots, getting absolutely beast controlled. This is about to drop him in the box too. He's missing edits. What's going on here? All the way around, he has an infantry rifle. That's not good close range. Has to throw over to the pump and land a big shot, but it's only green. He's gonna escape all the way and make sure he finds his way back to his team. Bloom took big shots. Percival actually down. You're trying to go toe to toe with Tayson, Nate, and 4ZR. I get it. Bloom, Percival, Tomsy. They're also really good at these fights, but this is you know, outclassed matchup right now. These guys are just working this trio, and it's good to go for these mid-game fights, especially when you're behind, to try to shake things up. It's also just so risky. On the same box right now, on the walls, they're just shooting pumps at it, not even swinging their pickaxes, and they get in basically unscathed. Tayson will be able to medkit up. Everything will look fine. What a fight. Masterclass of a mid-game fight there from 4ZR, Tayson, and Nate.
It looks like Bloomy's luck has run out of that trio. They've been avoiding that engagement down on the West Coast. They were always worried that they'd be taken out. That's what happens with the Sweaty Sands teams. But it looks like Tayson's trio is taking that engagement a little bit further. We've been seeing Bloomy and Tayson's trio all tournament long been competing for Central Zone and colliding. And right now, Tayson coming up top, who is trying to get a third FNCS championship. Now let's focus in here on Noah Riley. Reasons trio won game 1 of day 2 as well as last season. So we're seeing that they're creatures of habits. And now the changes, you're seeing the changes. They're actually boxed up looking for Storm Surge tags at distance. They're not moving. They're not in the car. They're not hunting. They decided to become more of a, I guess one of those like little spiders that chill in those underground traps, right? They're just waiting for people to walk on by to get some tags.
They're trying to switch things up completely. Meanwhile, Shadow is basically seeing the light absolutely erased almost. Stompy right, not gonna get beamed out of the air this time. He's looking good with peppers, but not finding a way to really help out his team. There's fire low ground too. Not really landing any shots on anyone through builds either. The big Elam comes in, the siphon finish, and now he's looking for more. Gonna pick up Shadow all the way up top, get that clutch. Revive, very nice. This is also just a very, very messy fight.
very messy. The fire actually knocked their teammate. That's what happens when everything gets set ablaze. Wakey's going to go ahead and bring back eyedrop into the fight here. This is actually another big fight because look at the inventory that Joe, Stompy, and Shadow have. Joe has so much shield, but at the same time, Stompy's trio has 4 peppers. And you know that's going to be a great win condition for Joe, Stompy, and Shadow. That is part of their game plan. They got a victory out by playing for height when the zone went down towards Holly Hedges Meadows, and they're blowing storm surge, and that's why they're taking this fight. But they open up that door and get greeted by some shots.
Dangerous for Joe. This man is a walking llama right now. If he gets taken out, golden tactical shotgun. You're talking about the bigs. He has so many. I'm gonna go down if you're Joe here.
You know this has to kill the deal, right? The feeling like they want to get down into that. They're so anxious. They're so HP thirsty. They want to get down there. Yeah, they want to get into that fight, but they're trying to slow down their ways. They're trying to slow down that temptation to get in there.
Stuff on both ends. People are definitely learning from yesterday. Every over and over, down to 16 HP. Shots on all sides. Patrick, be careful. Flick's on the other side. He's walking through flames. Not even affected. What is this?
Through the fire, and I don't think he's going to have a 9th place finish. No way. Not this game, considering that you have Indretta here that's trying to take that 1st place spot. You have Lanouf as well. This is the team that kind of lands at risky reels. And look at that. No. Storm starts going down, and Thomas HD gets taken out. And Nas is left by himself. And Indretta is now pushing Slicks. And Lanouf is just trying to back up his teammate here. And Anas is in a big shamble situation here. Storm Surge still ticking through, and Savage is going to look to clean that up. Yes, takes it up. Maybe Chapitz could breathe just a moment. Yes, he could breathe for a moment.
Yeah, Nas, Thomas, and Flick, they were the last team that had basically, you know, no surge tags whatsoever, no damage dealt on the map. That lightning was just striking them over and over. It took down Flick first. Thomas went away second, and Nas could still not find any damage and goes down as the last player for the threshold. Aloof 6 and Marine is not going to be here, looking to also go across. And Dreda is just shooting them with stink bows. No, that's actually another trio from the left side. Lanouf's having so much trouble moving in. Savage tries to relieve a little bit of pressure off from him because they're getting shot too. This is so tricky, and Zone is still moving.
Savage's weapon of choice in this tournament has been the stink bow. When I VOD reviewed, they would get into a little bit of the storm surge. They would get like a couple spaces in and turn and just rain down stink bows. He was basically crop dusting the entire lobby, man. It was just stinky. He was getting a lot of 5 HP tags all over the place.
quiet now across the map too. Everyone's kind of stopped. That surge gets everyone really, really active, pushed into boxes. Now they're looking for position to play out the rest of the game. Savage basing up with Andretta and Refsguard low ground. I'm not sure what happened last game, but Refs and Savage were basically taken out. Andretta had to clutch. Tapix is still alive somewhere, it seems as. Hasn't gone down, might even have the reboot cards. It's gonna be tough to revive everyone right here. The zone pulls left again, so Savage, Refsguard, and Andretta, it's just a pit stop on this road trip. They're not done yet.
What is done is Chapix taken out by the storm. So now first place is out. That's going to be an opportunity for Refsguard and Andretta and Savage to move up. Also third place, Flick Anas and Thomas AC we saw in the previous engagement taken out. Let's take a peek at zone 4. It's going to be a battle at Risky Reels. And we've already seen some fireworks. We've already seen blockbuster hits already in this tournament run. I'm expecting another summer blockbuster hit here for game 8.
Game 2 on day 2. This is very similar to what happened yesterday. Game 2 actually went to the Orchard, and it was this trio that ended up winning the game from low ground. They popped off. Queasy was on height, so maybe Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky might have some experience being high ground this game. But Andretta, Refsguard, Savage, this might not be where they drop in terms of end game. This is their home. They know exactly how to navigate the zone. They're used to the roads, used to the rivers. They take everything to their advantage and make the space. There's a game to win. It has to be theirs. On height, though, it's not Trulix this time just yet. Nate, Tayson, and 4ZR are looking to have some control of the game.
4ZR, Nate, and Tayson, 3 eliminations right now. They're another team that they can move up their leaderboard as well. In 4th place, one of those teams we've talked about, conservative play. Just get into the end game, just trying to get positioning, not taking too aggressive box fights. We all know that Tayson and 4ZR and Nate, they're on the road to redemption. Tayson decided to switch out his teammates. He wanted a more serious trio mates in this back, someone who's going to grind with them. We're seeing the fruits of their labor right now, getting them within striking distance of a championship. Nate, 4ZR, last season, of course, on the road for redemption, didn't really make it into the grand finals. We know that their finals is all about that. We thought they would be there. They weren't there. So this is going to be an opportunity, a chance to kind of turn their fate and let everybody know that they still got it.
Definitely the most improved trio of the entire season. They're still looking for shots. They're not exactly in zone all the way just yet, at least not that half of the base. Gonna be praying and hoping that it pulls their way, but we'll have chances to move no matter what happens. Wakey down below, there's trouble inside a little bit of those lower tier boxes, lower ground bases. People are going down left and right. Exterio's taken out. Alpha having trouble, and then taken out by Noah Riley as well. These guys are popping, but there's so many angles they have to cover.
I'm surprised. Stacey brought back his teammates. Stacey brought back that team. And wasn't he out by himself? Like, weren't they just being pressured by Kirachi?
Yeah, Excuse was a solo. I guess they brought everyone back. Yeah, okay.
Run. Okay, they're not.
Big reboot came through, but no matter, they were coming from the south side. They must be exactly where Noah Riley is, too. Look at the zone. This is a huge rotation, and builds are burning at the same time. You cannot cross that ground. Noah Riley will have to go around. And Alexis Sweet Stacey, yeah, I guess the reboot came through in the Spire or Boney Burst. Yes, they'll actually end up playing out the full game. That's clutch from X Squeeze. Meanwhile, near the river, this is where patience is tested. Safik and Siberia haven't moved just yet, and they have the longest and toughest rotation with a team beside them.
They've been coming from Coral Castle, and for them to actually finish day 1 in around 15th place is already a feat in themselves. They solved the puzzle of Coral Castle. For the longest time in the FNCS, no trio has really found success. They found some success. Just to paint a picture, last season, Kenzel, alongside with Waking Deceptos, finished in 30th place coming out of here. If Safik and Siberia could finish as a duo, that would be a great run, but look already what's happening. Noah, Riley, and Reason and the Deal have become a height team. They stopped buzzsawing the lobby, and now they're flying high in the sky.
You're telling me Noah Riley, Vidil, and Reason
I would never heard
over 8 hours after sleeping learned patience? That's insane.
That's a
they really want to win. They want to come back. Remember, Sancho, first and then down to 16th after 6 games. They're trying to climb their way back up. They're 10th place right now on the cumulative leaderboard. They're looking to rise higher and higher. Here is who is in their way: Trulex, Squeezy, and Jerky. They're uncomfortable right now. They're itchy. They're not used to being second height. They like being the highest in the lobby, and it looks like they have a little bit of advantage on zone. Just like yesterday in game 2, this team took control of height. They tried to pop off. They could not clinch the game. This time, they'll try to do it once again, but they have an entire Titan to take down. It's not free for them. They have to get through no O'Reilly, Vidil, and Reason.
How is Reason's trio going to be able to handle this? Trulix does have a pepper here. Are they going to go ahead there, look for the chop? We've seen Trulix's trio get chopped before in a phenomenal way by Vidil's trio themselves. In game 1, they chopped them out, and they were able to take height and the Victory Royale. So they're clashing again. Just look at this run, Shio.
Oh, Reason! I think he got hit by a bow from Trulex. They're screwing from the backside. There's so many teams moving over. This is huge for Trulex. He goes up. Yep, 173 damage above. It must have been a big shot, but they're still fighting. Queasy all the way up top. Meets over to Trulex. Look at how much this costs, Sancho. No shields in Trulex's inventory. Two of the teammates took 100 damage, and now they have height. A deja vu of day 1. Can they actually end up finishing the game, though?
They need the resources to hold on. Day 1, they couldn't hold on to height at all. They kept losing it here around zone 7. So they have to keep an eye on the backside. Let's see who's second from height. They actually have Andalix and Stacey, but they already lost a trio mate. So I don't know if they're going to take it here. So that focus has to be down on the low ground. Savage and Dreda, Refsguard, they have an opportunity to get the Victory Royale. The question is, they're down the soft match. So if they can find an impact refresher, get that frag, get back some builds and hard mats, they can walk away with their game 2 Victory Royale again.
Ooh, what a risky rotate. They go all the way in. No builds whatsoever. Here's the refresh opportunity. Big shots from Savage. It's huge. They do get one body. Fully eliminated. The master back in the inventory. Savage, though, has none. Can't build any ramps. Can't do anything. Can't defend himself. Twos with the shots. He actually dodges them left and right. Savage is rolling, and Refsguard finds him. They're both going to be together. Refsguard must have the builds. They're in old mats. It's looking good. Payson down in the feed. Savage, Refsguard, and Dreda. They're at home right now. This is their zone. They can win this game, but they need materials.
The materials are running low, but at height as well, the materials are running out. And Dreda's trio is in second place. Forziar and Tayson in 4th place. They're making the way, but look, their materials is running low as well. Pressure coming from height pushes them down to the low ground. And it's a very dangerous layer to be on. Forziar with 3 eliminations, 12 HP, knocks Mr. Savage, stops that trio right in their tracks. 4ZR on the track for redemption here is barely alive, and he's gonna have to go to the medkit play and hopefully catch someone else on the backside of the storm.
Does he have it down to 2 HP? And yes, he picks it up. A stop sign on the highway of low ground. 4ZR keeps his chances alive in this game. Trulex, Jerky, and Queasy, though, on height. They're still alive, and they're looking real good. They might not have too many materials, but they have a chance to do a lot of pressure down. It's somewhat of a bounce back zone, so they don't need to do too much over here. A chance for a breather. Their Elam's looking good, 2-5 so far. Floki, though, is still on low ground. A very dangerous trio to go head-to-head with in the end game. Hottie alive, sniped down by Lanoof. So many different teams down below that are so good at these high-pressure situations. Trulex, Squeezy, and Jerky have a big task ahead of them, and another misthink that might cost them a lot in the end game.
This is where it gets sketchy for them as they make their way down. Neb's going down. Floki, you already said it. A very nightmarish trio to deal with here. Trulix has 2 floppers, 2 medkits. He's going to be the man that's going to be sitting on the high ground and sending him much pressure. Clement Deceptos are still there. Waze is already going in for the medkit. He's coming in for the backside storm. Waze against Kiriachi, gets knocked, and that's what happens when you do the flopper pay. You get the angles to send the beams on through. Floki, Deceptos, and Clement, they don't see Waze. Clement gets tagged in from the backside. Clement has to play some defense. Clement, hold on, and Clement responds with the elimination.
3v3, and this time Queasy can't choke. Trulex looking up high, almost out of materials as well. They have to try to win this game to redeem themselves from the mistakes yesterday. They want to make up the whole leaderboard as well from what we saw before and yesterday. 2 Trulex, Squeezy, Jerky are looking for the drop down. 2 different teams, big shots below. Deceptos down. It's a huge drop. Trulex is the insurance. He has to go below. I think he might be the last one left here. One more flopper, and these guys are still in zone. It's too early, but he has the angles. Trulex gets it all the way in the end game. The same zone from yesterday. They win it out. They're looking glorious today, Sancho.
They have to feel good. I know they probably look at the VODs to see like, yeah, man, we had height this many times. If we just clean up a couple of things, we just hold on, we get a couple, be a little bit more aggressive, get some elims, stomp out the low ground, we could win more games. And they just got their first victory out here in day 2, Shio.
Yeah, but 4ZR, so many low ground teams going down to that zone. It's uncharacteristic. That was a very, very tough game. We have to toss it back to the desk to break it down and show us what we missed.
Okay, all right, Queasy, Trulex, Jerky, High Ground Kings. You know, if you ever look high ground, if there's a team up there, it's them. That's it. It's gonna be them forever. Boys, fantastic second game on the day. And I like how the casters kind of set this up. They're looking for that redemption arc, right? They're like, yesterday, I don't even care about yesterday. Today, we're going to show up big.
Yeah, and I think like that storyline is so true for indeed reason for Deal No Riley as well, right? You got to think winning that first game, and then it looked like it was going to be their game 2 again. Taking height so early in that 5th zone, they committed so much to it, but again, it ended up being a little bit too much because Queasy, their team is so good at focusing high ground. We've seen this all through yesterday. I'm trying to think if there was a game where they haven't been on height ever in the history of them playing tournaments at this point.
Yeah, literally the whole day of yesterday, it was literally like, how's the weather down there, boys? You know, it was them up above time and time again, but they weren't able to convert it into victory royales a lot of the time, and that was a real issue. You know, we know this is how they play. You look at Queasy and Trulex historically throughout multiple Fortnite seasons, they opt to play high ground. This season, right, Juriki's been a spark for them. You saw Juriki when they were taking out, he took the Germans down, right? No Riley, they'll wipe them out, you know what I'm saying? And from there, it was really great play, and they held out height, and they was able to convert into a win. More of these, and they might sneak into contention, guys. I'm calming down a bit, but it's possible. It's always possible.
Look, Fortnite's taught us, right? Anything is possible. It just depends on how you approach that end game. So let's actually talk about this end game coming out of last game, game number 1, because we saw a little bit of a heel off that was a little bit of a flub.
Yeah, there was a little bit going on here. If you remember game back to 1, Thomas and Nas on high ground, very similar to this last game we watched with Queasy on high ground, setting up the heal potential here with Reason down below on the low ground. Now, one of the things we want to keep an eye out is, look, Thomas HD's just taken a tick to zone right here. If you notice, his HP has gone down to 90 at this point, right? No longer at 100. He has the medkit's inventory. This means he is able to actually use the medkit to stay alive a little bit longer in the zone. So notice he keeps going forward, but this is where a fatal mistake comes out, right? Next thing you notice, again, after harvesting that, 2 builds remaining only. So this is also why Anas has to drop down, because he has absolutely 0 here. So he uses those 2 builds right here, and notice the positioning. He's at the back rather than being at the front here. Will this allow Reason on low ground not to be able to see him? But the issue is he's too close to the edge of the zone down at the bottom here, which means when he starts popping his medkit, I mean, we all saw how unfortunately it ended up going for him. So now moving down to Reason's perspective on low ground, this is a thing of beauty. This is what we love to see from a fighter like this. He gets an ass dropped into his box and hits a huge shot. But this edit that he's made on the right-hand side here is beautiful, because he has a right-hand peek on Anas, who is on the other side, and Anas can't see him at all. And this manages to pick up a beautiful shot for him. And this, look, 5 HP, and the elimination goes through. And then we said, playing on high ground with the medkit too far to the back with not enough time, and unfortunately he ends up being eliminated. But let's see how that last game also kind of transitioned onto these standings.
Gut-wrenching finish there, Reese. Looking at the standings though, still on top of the board, Refsguard and Dre and Mr. Savage, we got to watch them a bit, and they do look like, you know, they're having a decent day, but nothing yet that is comparable to what they did yesterday. The key thing to note here, though, is Queasy, Trulex, and Juriki shooting all the way up into second now, and they are closing that gap. Zeke, I hear the laugh, Zeke, but you know it. They are closing that gap. They are looking to try and become FNCS champions at the end of today.
Yeah, and it's looking like it could be not only them in the running, though, because Rescard and Dress Savage, huge game for them. Forzy, Artace, and Nate, too. Look at the difference between first all the way down till third, and we can't count out Hen, Janice, Chapix, too. Look at how close all of these players are in the top 4 with 4 games remaining. And I must say, this is going to be an exciting 4 games going forward. Any of these teams right now are completely in the running.
This is only game 2. Look, you guys know that I stress. I feel the emotions. Don't do this to me. I mean, I'm down. Like, you know what? Let's keep making this a close competition to the very end. I'm super down. But once again, man, Queasy and his trio, I don't understand why people are just allowing them to be up there. Just stop them from getting high ground. They're going to close out games if you let this happen. But again, there's all these other trios, man. It's literally like there's a feeding frenzy on EU right now. And it's just like whoever finds that window to attack, they're gonna close it out. But okay, I know, Zeke, I know, it's game time. We're jumping back into the action. This is game number 3 on the day, aka 9 of this series. Let's get into all the action.
In EU right now, it's all about the win, Sancho, and it looks like Trulex, Queasy, Jerky, they're doing it the best.
You gotta think about it. Aussie Antics on the NAE's broadcast, it says, you know, high ground gets games, low ground wins tournaments. But so far, Queasy, Trulix, and Jerky are flipping that table, putting it on the other side, and they're looking really solid here in day 2. As I mentioned, day 1, they had height all the time, and they almost were able to walk away with multiple victory royales. And they most likely decide, you know, we just got to cheer up the defense. We have to make sure the backside is being protected, because that's all the time they have been happening, is they would lose it on the high ground retake coming from a flank with just normal builds. And that's what's so fantastic about this meta, is that you're able to kind of hold on to height. There's no bouncers, there's no shockwaves, there's no caddy launcher to kind of come up in there to take it away from you. So we're seeing what they can do. Now, the question going forward, as we're going to get into the later stages of the game, as you do see Weeping Woods already, the save it battle versus Blaster is still continuing there, is who is going to change up their kind of strategy. And when they change the strategy, and this is where it gets kind of tricky here, Revscar getting knocked in midair, this is where it gets dangerous, because as I mentioned, what ends up happening as the tournament goes on, people change up their strategies and they try to stop you from winning. We saw it in season 4 when Mongrel's trio was being all of a sudden got pushed out of Stark Industries. We saw it in season 5, right? All the teams landing on SETI to slow him down in day 1. So the question will be, who is going to slow down Revscar? And it looks like Elocrass and Hottie and Tripper are here to stop and slow down Indreda's trio.
They're hunting for Revscar too. I don't think Indreda's going to be able to go back and pick him up. He's hiding under a bridge though, so those free mats might be tough to find. For Hottie's trio, they're actually looking directly under it. They understand how far refs can actually crawl. Meanwhile, another trio goes down on the other side of the map. I'd have to imagine that's either Retail Row or Craggy Cliffs. There's so many big fights going down in Retail between 2 ex-teammates as well. It's so, I would say, sad to watch, because you want to make sure everyone here is having a good day overall. I believe that's Wolfie's fighting it out, or Slender actually fighting it out with Kiko on that side. But as we look at Craggy, it might be a 2-man operation for this trio, although they're working really well to get to end game. That's always just clutch, clutch, clutch. We saw Savage try to do it in one of the games yesterday. We had Indreda in that last game survive as his trio went down and get all the placement towards the very end and at least one more moving zone. They're gonna have to clutch again as a duo this time, starting off early.
I think the theme of day 2, Shayo, is patience. Patience is showing what patience could work out to, being consistent, just trying to work their way in, net a couple points here, 20, 30 points right now. They're averaging 25.88 points here, so they're doing really solid, keeping up the pace. And we have to say, will Noah Riley, as you see on the bottom right of your screen, will that patience hold on? It's going to be tested. Every time they see a box fight, every time they see anyone rotating out in the open, that is going to be like, do we box dive in? Do we go back to our old ways? Because, you know, habits are hard to break. You know what they say? It says it takes 2 weeks to form a habit. Maybe here in the Fortnite world, it takes about 3 games. Maybe that's your new habit for the rest of the way.
It might be. I feel like the habits formed in this game are also centered around emotions. Like when it comes to this trio, they're looking real good so far. Meanwhile, though, Craggy Cliffs, it looks like Pen Janice Chapix actually end up going down starting off this game. It might be an off-spawn scenario. It might have been a third party completely. But, you know, we're talking about emotions. They have to be emotional after that one. They're slowly falling behind these 3 teams, Jerky, Tayson, and Savage, game after game. They've now gone all the way down to 4th place. Used to be up top near 1st. Yeah, absolutely. Vortex Knight, I don't see Hikers just yet. That might have been the cost of the fight. Are going to be here, surviving for this game, and inhibiting Chapix and Janice for getting any points.
The mental of our defending FNCS champions will be tested. They've had lost only 1 engagement yesterday, and every time they walked out of it, they got 2 victory royales with double-digit eliminations. The other times, they ran into Vidil. Vidil had a vendetta. Last season, Vidil's trio got taken out by Hen's trio in that $100,000 box fight. I will never forget that call. That was an intense situation. And that's what it all came down to last season. We're getting closer and closer to the final game here out of the 12. This is just a halfway point here in day 2. And already, we are already seeing like all the Savage fans are High Chris fans right now, right? All the Hin fans are like the Tripper fans right now. They're all just hoping that the other can like drop spot fights go the opposite way. And wow, this is the FNCS.
Think about the ramifications of that off spawn. Now we have a trio in 30th place who's allowed to end up playing this entire game, right? Usually boxed out by a higher team. In terms of High Chris, Vortex, and Knight being in 30th, being inside an end game, you might not be thinking totally of the comeback. You might be thinking about, you know, taking more risks going just completely for the win, not doing the most consistent and expected plays. It's going to be dangerous for everyone else. This game might be a lot more trickier to navigate.
If they could break through that threshold, we're talking about thousands of dollars. So it's worth them to throw everything at the wall, throw that spaghetti, see if it sticks, because we're talking about a couple commas and zeros every time you move up that leaderboard.
Yeah, but they're going to be working against the grain, right? For people like Kiriachi, like 4-0 we saw right now. You talked about it, Sancho. Patience. They're waiting. They have a game plan and it's working. For trios like High Chris, like Vortex and Knight, they don't care about patience. This is the first time they get to play a game today, right? They're going to be going through fast. If there's a box fight they're not meant to take, they might just do it for the elims. That might change everything. We have a very dangerous trio playing this game.
And this trio right here, we haven't really shown a lot of love on the broadcast, but it just seems like every FNCS tournament, there's always a trio that, you know, when they do that drone panning shot in game, like, oh, hey, look, Stormingtons, they're there, right? They're there.
Yeah.
You just keep repeating their name. They're still in this fight. And that's what their ride was in day one. And they're still keeping up that same set of pace here. Right now, they're looking at 5th place. And with 4th place already down, they can move up the board even more.
I'll tell you why this trio doesn't get love. They're endgame mannequins. They don't do anything when they're alive. They don't get any elims. Usually when Kiriachi 2s are playing around, they survive. They make very smart rotations, maybe getting 1, 2, or 4 elims a game. The thing, though, I feel like, you know, this might be a situation where mannequins come to life. Last game, 9 eliminations, 4th place. They're definitely switching things up. Their win condition today is eliminations. They're playing the right type of Fortnite game. They need to play the other side of it, though, and actually have an impact in their zones and lobby. And Nos is by himself too, walking around right now. But yeah, Kiriachi needs elims. They're doing it off the start of the day. Need to make sure they keep it up.
Mannequins Coming Alive is totally an 80s movie reference right then and there. And now we have no O'Reilly reason. And Vadil is so interesting, though. I thought this trio would be able to push out to the coast. I thought they would go back into being more aggressive, being more that ruthless trio, you know, taking out those legions of players. But I don't know who is this team? Like, I want to know who is this team.
I'll tell you what I was talking about emotions before, right? These guys feel really good and they're happy when they're pushing teams and it works out. When that doesn't happen, you start to get negative emotions associated with that push, right? Now today, they're playing patience and they're getting points. You get points, you're happy. They're just riding those emotions and now the patience is coming naturally. So very emotional team. What they're doing is making them very, very happy. They know it's working. They're getting points. They're going to keep doing it.
They're going to the gym. You know, this is like their 2nd week. They're seeing the abs kind of pop out a little bit. They're like, okay, maybe I'll stick with this new lifestyle. And at the same time, I'll stick with this diet. But these guys, they love to eat. And right now they're just holding on. You know, they're just, hey, they're calorie deficient. They're making sure they're leaning out because when they get lean, they are dangerous and they are mean.
Other side of it, we're watching it. Way's actually in the distance. They also like fighting a lot, but the patience sometimes comes at an offbeat, like a weird time. Sometimes too patient when they should be aggressive. They're still learning that type of game, and they're actually very similar, I would say, to Vadil and O'Reilly and Reason when it comes to, you know, approaching mid and end game. But we'll see. They're kind of in the same spot. Maybe they can also bring it up. 7th place, rolling into. They're looking really good throughout the day. The aggression hasn't been turned on completely, but you know, they're very consistent at just making games. 2/3 back to back from Nebs, Bubak, and Ways rolling through actually gets them all the way into the top 10. If they can get another third, I mean, lucky number 3 for this trio. They're looking real good. Meanwhile, 4-0 Nate, Tayson, I mean, there's so much to talk about with these guys. Top 3 right now. You know, lots of doubts in the preseason, lots of doubts while we were watching them from qualifiers to heats. They fixed everything. And once again, they're surviving. I have their win condition just kind of written down, as we talked about it last game a little bit as well, Sancho, for the tournament. They need to start owning these games, making it their own. What are the names we've been talking about in the last few games? We said Trulix a lot. We said Savage. We're talking about Hen. It feels like, once again, 4-0, Tayson, and Nate are paint on the wall. Definitely there, but they're not the talk of the town so far. They need to be that way. They need to make these flashy plays if they want to win this tournament.
They can do it. 22 elims in the heat stage.
Yeah,
it's in there. It's in there. It's in there. Mappy, Red Rush, Asterios, not kind of having the same success that they had in the previous day. Slowly slipping out of the top 3. Right now, coming in 8th. Shayo, It's just right now their style is about playing center. So they're coming out of the Cami split. Now Andreas, the Savage, and Rescard now back in full force. They were able to get the reboot card and bring them back their trio mate. So that's looking good. It's slowing down though. So they may not have strong weapons, or they may not have all the mats and resources. So expect this trio to be a little bit more aggressive. Marine is now sending in the Sting Post to open up their rotation to slow down the peak. And so what you gotta do, man, you gotta send in those stink bows just to open up a little bit. That's gonna give the signal for Refsguard and Jordan Savage to rotate through to Lazy Lake, which has been a battleground in this tournament.
These guys have to have extra health or something. They survived so many crazy situations. Refsguard going down off spawn. They have to travel to get the reboot. They do it in enough time and then have a chance to actually have some type of loadout. You're right, Sancho, it's kind of weak, but what does this mean for Refsguard being rebooted? This trio allowed to play this game. They're in first, Sancho, right? Yes. Them alive, full forces. This mean Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky, they have a tough time, you know, kind of taking hold of this game. They're on screen right now too. This is perfect. You know, they're gonna have a tough time kind of taking over first if that team's alive. Same thing for 4-0, Nate, and Tayson. They'll have a tough time if Savage is alive. It might even look like Trulex, Queasy, and Jerky might not stay this way the entire game. Snazy's here. This is Southside, and Alex's home. It's been invaded by multiple teams. And now they're looking to just fight one off for the moment. I'm not sure how far this fight will go, but you never know right now. These things are still being thrown in.
This is a wrestling match that's getting sweaty and is getting dirty right now between the old guard and the new. This Trulix's trio is a newly formed right now. Trulix, of course, playing last season with Pink and Stormy, or I believe it was Stompy. They had a fantastic run. Trulix arming that RPG. Jerky and Queasy, of course, forming with their respective trios here. Queasy playing with Rasco and Paco. And wow, I mean, for them to be able to hold on right now, look at this. There's a 3-trio kind of standoff right now with Fast Roxy, Ardent, and Pizza coming from Misty. And then you have this team from Camp Cod. You know, Snaze's trio, they're going to want this fight because they're low on Storm Surge. Because you come from Camp Cod, you know this is your opportunity to get those tags in.
Wow, Queasy's still finding a way in these bases with 2 teams around them. Shoot off on another way far away on a hill. That's crazy. That's huge for the tags as well. And man, I wish Ardent, Pizza, and Fast Roki had a theme song. It feels like every time there's a third party coming through, these guys roll in with a jingle and they're the ones to cause chaos every single time, whether it's at Lazy Lake, now it's down below at Camp Cod. I always have some type of song playing in my head when I see Fast Roki on screen. They just make things crazy.
It's basically, that's a third party, right? That is what they're, that's a third party. So that right now is just being so aggressive all over the place, and Lazy Lake is where they like to push on through. So they're seeing some opportunities to get some tags here on the storm line edge. Red Rush in center. Zone is pushing them a little bit further. This is very going to be interesting in-game style if it goes down to Misty Meadows Lake. We see Zako's trio already setting up an opportunity here. We've seen when it was here in Lazy Lake yesterday, Jules was able to hold on to height there in game 4. There was 3 different height retakes and they lost it. And Pizza is actually getting gobbled right now. Down he goes. Wolfies is getting eliminated. Elo Cracks is getting eliminating the feed. Now this engagement is opening up just a little bit more. Just like Pistachio Nut just opens up a little bit more. Before you know it, they're going to be able to gobble that up and get some confirmation and some 2 Elim points.
Yeah, Fast Roki down. The third party trio not going to be able to operate today. For this game, the one trio to watch has to be Red Rushes. They ended up coming second all the way on low ground, played it really well. They're kind of the kings of navigating Lazy Lake, but what it looks like right now is they're actually under Surge. This is going to be a very crucial pump shot map. He has to hit. Surge actually goes away. You can back up, my friend. No! At the last second, Surge stopped 70 players. Mappy overstepped. The trio that clutched out this zone yesterday is going to be 1 man down. Mappy is also most consistent in terms of surviving and being able to support his teammates too. He's not going to be there. This is looking tough on day number 2 for Red Rush.
And that was a big refresher elimination right there for Andretta's trio, knowing that they had a reboot teammate. Now they could take his loot, Mappy's loot, and be able to move on through right now. That was always a question mark for Red Rush. If you're going to play center, you're going to have to hit your tags. You're going to have to find people in your rotations, because if not, Storm Surge will be knocking on your door to collect that build.
This is actually tough, I feel like, for Savage and Jenner and Refsguard. They like wide open low ground that doesn't really switch layers. Their lifeline for this entire tournament and their playstyle is low ground. If they don't have a consistent low ground type of terrain to play, they're going to be in trouble for games. Lazy, I feel like it's kind of like that with all the builds, the buildings, and the fact that it can go to the mountains and the river. They might be looking to play a little bit more mid. They're kind of trying to take it over from from Red Rush, it looks like right now. And they know they're, at a man advantage, 3 versus 2, but no. Just gonna sit up. They're gonna build up. They know that low ground might be a little bit tough. Actually, still trying to hunt down Red Rush and Exteriors. Not gonna find it just yet. But yeah, for this zone, they're gonna have to switch up their playstyle. They're gonna be aliens in terms of how they're playing. Very used though, you know, to being height. They're gonna be in situations, not bad players in other spots. And there it is. The Red Rush elimination comes in. Gonna have so many more materials as well to work with. Once again, though, it will be a very different game plan we see this game.
The game plan will all determine where Zone 4 goes. Zone 4 is really close to them. They could work through these kind of natural buildings, the ones that are set here, and find their way in. Now we're looking at Tayson, Nate, and Forziar, who's made their way in from sweaty stands here on a very dead side rotation, considering that Misty Meadows trios have already rotated through. We already saw Pizza way down there, and it pushes south. So Andrea's trio has some work to do. There's a couple trios along their way, but Tayson's, Forziar, and Nate don't have to do any work. But Shio, look at how much of the aquatic lake is eating up Zone 4, and we already seen when it comes to the FNCS wow. I cannot wait where this in-game goes. I mean, I'm trying to think what happened last season. There was Staten Island's reference that I remember. There was so much zaniness going down. It was
too crazy last season. And for Forziar's True, it already looks like they have water in their lungs before they dive into the lake. They're down on HP. They're looking bad, pretty much like Waze right now on HP too. Has to dive into some minis in not a flop or a med kit, it's fine. But yeah, for a lot of trios, you have to be very careful at how much damage they're taking getting to the zone. Sancho is absolutely correct. Once you're here, it's gonna take you double the builds to be able to survive. You have to build on the floor. And then every single opening there's gonna be even more eyes looking at you. There's no buildings, no terrain in the way.
So that will say, Queasy's trio, known to take height. If they could take it here in this in-game, that is a really strong probability for them to walk away with the Victory Royale and catch up to Resguard and Dredda and Savage.
That's all it is right now. People trying to catch up to Savage, but Savage has to go down alongside Dredda and Resguard for that to happen. No O'Reilly, Vidil, and Reason. Mid-ground this time, I don't think Reason wants to get headshot, bow sniped again. They're looking to play defense and make sure all three are alive. They're so good when they're a trio. Look at it, the waterfalls on the right. They're on a higher layer. It's tough for them to do their classic box-to-box beam, but they'll find a way. Bat Sniper on the receiving end. They're going to be really cornered down here. Esti, this is their home turf. Sancho, they were born in Lazy Lake, and right now they're getting molded by Noah Riley, Vidil, and Reason.
Yeah, it looks like all the tourists from Lazy Lake are coming in and kind of changing the neighborhood that they're known to. You know, if you're like, the neighborhood was never the same. Everything's different now. I wish it was back in the old days. But those old days, everything's been upgraded and everything's been infiltrated by all the people that are moving on through. And Waze right now, 22 below, has some work to do to be able to survive right now. Nebs, Vbucks, and Waze have been doing a fantastic time of being in the middle of the packet in-game, just getting there, but barely one above. And so many people have to go down. And so many people have to go down. 14, 13 people now, and now they're dipping into the rest of the hard mats. They're on the rope, Shio, and they have Gray on their layer.
Still have a chance to punch back and fight. Wade's looking for any shots left and right. Neb's actually going down on the backside. Vbucks will have to try to make amends for it, but zone's coming in, so they actually can't even get to the loot or the body. Wade's looking on the right side. Wolfie's looking down bad on the bill. Switches to wood, back to metal. Wolfie's trying to go for it, and Dredda might have been knocked. Queasy also down to the Zaiku. Everything is turning on its head, and it's not even rotating yet. It's not even closing in half and half. Hey, did these guys even reload? What is the max size for Waze and Vbucks? The shots are not stopping. Slender down. Wolfie's low HP. They picked up another jam sites here now. The edge of the zone is just catastrophic for any team down below. Waze and Vbucks are not holding anything back.
All the teams that were on that struggle southern rotation are now breathing a sigh of relief. And Reason O'Reilly, thank you. Get up there and show that Bloomy's now being taken over. That is a huge play. And Noah O'Reilly and Reason are back up into the sky, and they are soaring. They may be soaring to the top of the leaderboard here after this match. That was a big, just an alpha ramp right out to and Bloomy's trio. I've been there before. I know what it feels like to be ramped up to. It's a scary sight, especially when you have Noah, Reason, and the deal going up to your door.
Man, I was about to talk about it in a sec when we went back to Bloomy, but I was gonna say they have had height in other games. Their weakness is literally god ramps. There's been multiple games. I think it was Trulex who god ramped them yesterday. They're on height. They're getting bow sniped or something. This time, Reason, Noah Riley, and Vidil, I think they understood height wasn't being that active. Bloomy, a little bit new to looking at how to actually play it. And boom, they're up there. It looks good. 4-0 Nate and Tayson, though, once again, lost at sea. This is just so bad. They're the only trio all the way on the backside too. What a horrible situation for them to be in so far. So close to the top of the leaderboard too. Can't go down here. Nate trying to clutch it up. 6 HP. It looks like it's the 9th zone for him right now, but the moving zones haven't even started. Every team is shooting at him. I count at least 15 ARs. Somehow he still finds a little bit of levity in the situation, a little bit of peace. He'll survive for a bit, but he's on borrowed time.
Nate, he's gonna have to turn into a Houdini to survive that max pull, because he's gonna have to go through the entire lobby. We'll keep an eye on the feed, but now all eyes are going back to our first place team of Refsguard, Dreada, and Savage. Zone thankfully pulls their way. Nate gets taken out by Jerky there, so that run is over. The Magician could not get out of that trap. Now, Refsguard, Dreada, Savage, just focus in here. Let's tell you the gravity of the situation here. Throughout the entire time, they've been getting as many placements here, getting just enough elims just to be able to stay ahead of the push from Queasy, to stay ahead from Hen and Tayson. Now Tayson's gone. Now Hen is gone. They just have to avoid Queasy here. And look at how much damage Noah Riley and the Deal and Reason are. Over 1,000. Now this is where they traditionally are in the early game, but now they're doing it at the end game.
And this is one of the easiest zones to maintain height. So many top buildings, so many old builds to connect to. Noah Riley, Deal and Reason have a huge chart they can operate off of. No one should be able to really take it down. They could get stuck on from the back in these earlier zones. If they make it to zone 8, I feel like they can't be stopped. Meanwhile, though, on low, Stormy right above Savage. Snazy also moving in. Floki rolling through. Forziar gone and Hen is gone. That's 3rd and 4th place down. There's a lot of room for people to move up.
Second place.
Jerky can't. Second place is on a lifeline right now. One last teammate left alive. Height is just punishing everyone. Trulex, you have to stay alive for this placement, my friend. Your tournament run might be at stake over here on the 3rd game of the 2nd day. He's looking to see what he does next. Zone actually does pull away. It's all of the Trulex to hold on to spot number 2 right now. He's not gonna be able to get the revive. Meanwhile, Vidil's still popping all the way up top on height. Joe Shadow moving down below. Refsguard and Savage is still ahead of zone.
Ahead of zone and looking healthy. That's exactly where the position that they would be. Every time they find success at in-game, they're right then and there. And look at it. All the pressure's going down right now from Noah Riley and Vidil and Reason here. Trulex is on the backside. Trulex has to hold on. Trulex is in 2nd place without any kind of HP to med back up to full health here. But now all eyes are on this new form trio. It feels like they're just changed their ways, being patient. Let's go back into the great. The Deal and Reason now on height. Savage and Dreada and Refsguard working through those buildings like you pointed out here, just giving them a little bit more time, a little bit more placement points, and now we're in the top 10.
And this is where low ground kind of gets tricky. Cars in the way, buildings you can't really break through in time either.
No builds.
Savage, no builds, nothing to really reform in terms of trees. They split up a little bit of mats. Minis also dropped down. It's looking like a 3v3 between Refsguard and Dreada Savage. Reason, Noah Riley, Vidil at the very end, but they still have to survive. Thomas HD alive as a solo all the way on the backside. Andalex actually going down from up top. The server's getting squeezed right now. And Dreada, Refsguard, Savage are waiting, and boom!
This is big.
Big shots coming through. Shadow, Joe, and Stompy kind of stuck on the left corner. Savage, though, is caught out. He was too far, and he goes down. It's up to Andretta and Refsguard to carry that torch to first place all the way. Meanwhile, Zyku taking out Stormer right from the backside. Low ground is a maze, a labyrinth, and you can't just hug the right wall. There's no solution to this. You have to react to everything going on in front of you. Noah Riley is getting close and personal, dropping for height, looking for box-to-box fights. Shakeoffs going down. They still have mass to survive.
The Deal, Noah Riley are the dogs, are sending down there to get some big bites on the low ground. They're going up for some air, and they're diving back into the mess that's on this low ground. Opportunity here for another victory royale. Stompy gets bopped. Here we go. This is it right here, Shio. It's a top 4 situation, and I'm just taking a look, and I believe Andretta is still holding on. This is going to be a big game for them, but if Noah Riley, Vidil, and Reason could get some eliminations and the victory royale, they're going to be able to get into that top 3.
A slow burning game going to max brightness. Noah Riley, Vidil, and Reason are all still alive. 3 different teams left, 8 players, and they have 3. A majority of the pie so far. They're looking to drop down in just a bit, but there's a big retake coming through. Is that Fury randomly going for height? You can't do this against the best aggro team. They're looking to take him down, but no. Vidil gets clapped. Reason gets also completely brapped, but there it is. Fury gets taken down. Now Noah Riley is dropping to the floor. It looks like, yes, there is one team down below. Andretta still surviving as a duo. 2v2. We got another matchup to watch in just a sec. The zone's actually pulling up towards the hill. Noah Riley in advantage. advantage, but he's getting prepped to dive below. Taking a big breath of big shields before he hits that water. He goes straight down. No, not yet. Stink blows him and Dreda. They have the Elam. Siphon comes through. Yes. Reason's up top with a med kit. Restguard has the last tick of his own. Reason eating the meat right now too. He's going straight for that drop down. It's not going to be enough for the heals to survive. Reason, Badil, no O'Reilly. Textbook game. That was absolutely crazy to watch.
Was that 10 elims, 17 total for that trio? Was that and the victory royale? I thought that was going to be a top 3. They're going to the moon. They're going to the moon.
No, they're going to a different galaxy. They're going to a different. We don't know where they're going, man. Yo, see, Levin Reese, give us an astronomical chart. Where's this trio going, real man? Show me the desk. Show me the desk.
Bro, we're full warp, dude. We're going to a different galaxy, a different time zone, a different timeline. It is just not even in the same realm any longer. And by the way, boys, Badil's trio, that's a new elimination record. That's right. We're seeing action like you would not believe, Reese and Levin. I just cannot understand how these games just don't stop. It is just constant action, constant blows going back and forth. I don't know if my little baby heart can take it.
I don't think my big boy heart can take it. Like, this was an incredible game from these guys. Record breaking actually for FNCS finals overall. 17 eliminations, the most amount of points in history so far. This is something that we do not see often. And we've called this yesterday and today, saying that these guys are going to pop off with a 10, 15, 20 elimination game. Insane.
Look, last season, they looked like they were going to take the FNCS championship going into that final game, and things didn't go their way. But now they are back with vengeance. They had the highest point game of yesterday. They have the highest point game of not just today, but ever in an FNCS finals. Like, this is ridiculous stuff. These guys are going to shoot all the way up the standings. They came into this game in 10th. We'll see where they are when we get to it, but a phenomenal game from these guys.
And it's a very different game, right? When you can dethrone that #1 team going into the game, I mean, without Hen, Janice, and Chapix, I feel like everyone else just had breathing room, right? They were just allowed to operate without this, like, pressure, Levin.
Yeah, 100% right. Hen, Janice, and Chapix went down early, and we'll get to show it to you, right? Because the key thing for this team was the fact that coming into today, right, or coming into yesterday, people were scared about this team here, High Chris Vortex, who are landing on them. And people said, if these guys can't sort of get rid of them off spawn, there's going to be big problems. But you'll see here, off spawn, moments before disaster. Screenshot this, right? We all know this feeling. You're gliding in, you see your enemy has picked up a weapon, and you're still gliding in. There's no hope for you there, right? And although Chapix eventually is able to pick up a weapon, at that point you could argue it's almost too late, because you can see High Chris there is able to go and do significant damage to his teammates. Similar thing here for Janice. Janice here, he lands in this building, he thinks to the chest, oh, I'm fine and dandy. No, you have Vortex here, he has a primal shotgun, and he gets Janice down to 31 HP. What can Janice do at that point? He's so low that it's just going to be incredibly difficult for him. And the big thing is, Reese, is like, this was the question we all had. Off spawn, what happens for this trio, right? Yesterday, they were able to avoid it a lot of the time, but if they're just 50-50, we know what Fortnite is sometimes. Fortnite, sometimes you land, you don't get the weapons you need, and you will just go down like this. If this continues to happen, they're not going to be able to back-to-back.
Yeah, and this is going to be tough. You know, we did see them lose a single game yesterday, so this could be their one today, and if it's only one, that's fine, but they can't keep doing this at all. They can't keep losing the games off spawn like this, and that is, like you said, the issue of a 50-50 play early on. You can see Hen eventually being picked up, and that is the end of it for them. So you can see that they have actually ended up moving down the leaderboard, down until 7th. That's where they are right now. So they're going to have to play a little bit of a catch-up game coming up forward. But some of these teams have been popping off. Resguard and Drea Savage still holding on.
They the so strong.
I know.
It's so silly. Like, every single game, we see some ridiculous stuff happen, and yet they remain first place every single time. Phenomenal stuff from them. But look, no O'Reilly, Reason, Badil sitting in 4th place. They were 10th last time. That game, 3 victory royales so far. The most of any other team. Like, this is insane from these guys.
Yeah, it was disappointing that they had so many not so great games yesterday. Like, after their big victory royale, they really had the other 5 games that just weren't really anything. So today they are playing serious catch-up, but already with 3 games left, being 4th, if they keep playing the way that they're playing today, this is going to be an incredible finish.
I just feel like Sancho West, like, his prediction is just kind of echoing my mind. I just remember back before the final started, Sancho was like, guys, you know what? calling in now. Savage's trio, game 12. They're gonna clutch it up for the whole champion. No, apparently Sancho was just like what he meant to say was they're gonna clutch up every game at all the times, at all the points in the competition. My goodness, this is insane. This is absolutely insane. Fortnite fan. I know, but listen, you're not gonna miss a single thing. We're gonna start game number 4, aka game number 10 across the whole competition during the break. So you're not gonna miss a single thing. When that timer hits 0, Shaw Wager, Sancho, they'll be there. They'll pick it up and we'll keep the ball rolling. So go quickly, find water, come back, and we'll keep this going here from the FNCS in Europe. See you guys in just a second.
Welcome back to the European FNCS Finals. It's day number 2. We're on game number 10 of 12, and our previous FNCS champions on your screen right now, Hen, Janice, Chapix, finally allowed to play this game. They've been contesting off spawn 24/7, all 10 games. They've lost 2 so far. The last one we just watched, but this time, if you're watching during the break, that fight ended in what, 3 seconds, Sancho?
And more importantly, they've been chilling in their lobbies respectively for about 25 minutes or so. So we all know that gave them time to kind of chill out for a little bit, reset. We've been saying countless times, when they get out of Craig Eclipse, they have the potential to win it all with a victory royale and double-digit eliminations. So now we're getting into it. We have 3 games left here of the FNCS EU before we crown either a defending champion or we crown a 3-time champion in Tayson, Nate, and Tayson's going to be that one right there. But the whole thing about this right now is, what kind of games going forward do these trios need? And Jonah Rescard and Savage, they don't need anything special. They just got to hold on, keep getting to end game, trust the process. That's all they have to do. Now, for people like the Deal, Noah Riley, and Reason, who have been on a terror, making their way up, they just have to now slow it down just a little bit more. I just don't know. I can't get a pulse on that team. It's like a team I've never seen before, you know?
They have 3 VRs, and today we're watching them, and I feel like we're kind of getting tricked. Their entire game plan has been good, but they've gone down at 27th place. They've gone down at 6th. Very flip-floppy team. Every time they win, Sancho, their next game, they don't get that many points. So we just saw them win another game, right? Game number 9 rolling in. And now for game 10, if the pattern continues, they're going to be looking at a game with no points again. They have to break this curse if they want to make it all the way up top on the scene. Chulak, Squeezy, and Jerky 2 have been attempting to be curse breakers today. On day number 1, in the first 6 games, they had so many good positions on height. They ended up getting taken over. It was tough. It was rough for them overall. Today now, they're in 2nd place. They're right behind this trio on your screen, Savage, Andretta, and Refsguard. They've had a great day of games so far, but they've also been a little bit flip-floppy. They have a win, 17th place. It's looking kind of weird. Everyone right now, this game matters so much. They have to be very consistent.
What's on the line is life-changing money. Hundreds and thousands of dollars for every single trio that we saw here are playing with that on their top of their minds. Every moment matters for them. Every build, every call out, every engagement's going to matter for them in these next 3 games. I can't imagine feeling the pressure. The only thing I've had that's close was playing in a local video game store. That's it. And my prize was a $20 gift card. So hey, that was the top of my prime, and I can't imagine playing for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Now 1.3 million total dollar prize pool when it comes to Europe. $300,000 for the trio who's rolling in first place. Squeezy, Chulex, and Jerky could be that trio, but once again, they cannot afford to make any mistakes from here on out. Those last 3 games, they kind of shape exactly how your entire tournament run looks. If you're behind, you have a big chance to get ahead. If you're ahead, you have to play defense. And these guys are caught in between, Sancho. They're ahead of the rest of the lobby, but behind Titans, they can't seem to shake down completely in these games. These rotations have to be perfect, and the end game has to be crisp.
And they absolutely earned their spot. They're going against the Andalexes of the world. They're going up against the up-and-comers and Jules right now getting tagged on their rotation. So they're clawing their way, trying to hold on and avoid anybody that's trying to pull them down and slip them. Now we're talking about movement. The Deal, Noah Riley, and Reason, 6 places they moved up. They've had 2 back-to-back games that have moved them up their leaderboard. And look at their strategy. They've just totally changed. And, you know, this kind of reminds me of, you know, at most where we're watching like Unknown, and where all the question was what would Unknown look like in in-game? If Unknown down there in the NA, what will he do if he just slow down, be patient, that chaotic energy, that be able to box fight anybody? He was doing some things in the past that were just phenomenal. The same thing like as well, like Face Sway, right? What would Sway look like if you kind of got to in-game? What we're seeing right here, a game that they just flip-flop everything, the script. They were getting like these 10 elim games, right? When in the early game. Now they're getting those 10 elim games at in-game, and they're getting those bonus placement points. That's why they're moving up the board so fast and ferociously.
For Vidil, Noah Riley, it only really is wins that are keeping them in this game. If they're not winning, they're having very, I would just say, middling performances throughout. It's like 11th or 17th rolling in throughout the day. It's not looking too good when you look at their team if they don't win games.
And to talk about it and put it in EU respect, like it's like, what will Wolfies look like in game? What would CRR look like in game? You know, what are those aggressive known players? What will they look like in game? And we're getting a taste of it. And we're just seeing that if you go do your homework, VOD review, they kind of tweeted out, we figured out a plan, and they're executing that plan so beautifully right here.
We're joining in slightly late also onto this game number 10, the fourth one of the day. So a lot of people have already moved off of their spots. They're rotating and the zone's coming in fast. I was thinking to myself, wait a minute, Forza Art and Lazy Lake, and we just started casting? No, this is all the way in a mid-game rotation, and their tags are looking a little bit low, but this is where they actually end up doing the damage. This is going to be a very good spot, but it's going to be shared alongside Fusion and Nexus down below. They love knocking on your walls, and then up top you have Scram, Putrick. We're desperate right now, looking for more points, looking for a way to get back into the competition.
We're talking about what does a trio need to come back. Thomas HC, Flick, and Nos have to have that pop-off game. They've been denied 2 times in this FNCS tournament. 2 times their signature pop-off game, holding on height, losing it at the very last moment. We saw the misplay by Thomas HC with the med kit here. Now, Reason, Noah Riley, the deal in trouble right now. Things are going to do. This trio that they're facing is no slouch. They've been taking out big names throughout the past 2 days. And if they add Noah Riley, Reason, and Badil, which they have done in day 1, that's going to be the big blockade, slowing them down from making their movement. This is the 4th place team right now battling. I'm taking a look at the board. They're facing the 9th place team.
This is just so scary from all angles. Multiple knights on the low ground. They're so tough. No chance on any walls to kind of escape. There's a trio on all sides. Siptos on one. Nos firing away from the backside all the way up top on a hill 2. Neves Vbucks on ways, as you mentioned, Sancho, not stopping the pressure. No Riley, Reason, and Vidil. They might just drop down to patterns. They won the last game. They might be going out early in this one.
This happened in game 2. Last time they got pinched, they were attacking Hen, and then all of a sudden, Floki's trio pinched them and wounded them, and they went down to a duo. So if they could solve what they did, the mistakes that they did last time, they could be able to keep pushing up their leaderboard. They did that by switching up a layer to staying away from that crazy low ground that's happening right there. But it's still, we have to keep an eye on them. That's what happened yesterday. All of a sudden, on that